New Theme Thursday, and I can't wait to get into it because my man Patrick Davis always keeps us on our toes, and we're one day closer to the weekend, and we all love the weekend. But let me talk about my man that sits across from me every single day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary Longhorn, lifetime Longhorn, and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derrick Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners, my man and yours, Rod Babers.
I appreciate that intro as always. Did we ever find out if Derrick Johnson went to the draft? Was he at the draft? DJ?
I didn't see any pictures. I didn't see any of that.
Sure,
but
I mean, you're talking
I'm
about
sure
one of
it was
the greatest players in the history. Hell, Jamal Charles should have been up there too.
Jamal was there. I saw him throwing footballs.
Okay.
I saw him
was
there.
Priest there? It should have been a heavy
I think
Longhorn.
Priest made a call. I think
Priest made a call?
came out and gave the pick.
One of the draft picks.
Yeah.
Yes, announced one of the draft picks.
Yeah.
There should have been a heavy Longhorn influence.
There should have been.
In terms of Longhorn NFL influence, is there a team in the NFL more heavily influenced than the Kansas City Chiefs by Longhorn football royalty?
Not when it comes to the record books. I don't think there is. Not if there's one that comes to the record books.
It can't be.
Well, Detroit was pretty strong with you guys.
Yeah, but
was the Seattle Seahawks.
But they didn't. That's a good point. Yeah, Quandre's still with them.
Quandre was there. Earl was there.
I don't know if anybody achieved.
Puna.
Yeah, Earl did
Puna.
too.
And Puna.
Yeah, Earl is Hall of Fame status. Earl will be there one day. Okay. All right. So maybe Seattle.
Maybe
Get
Seattle will be the closest
too.
one that was there.
Yeah, that's a good point. You already heard the voice, but let me introduce the man. He's the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we're trying to show that he's underpaid. It is Patrick Davis. What's going on, Patrick?
Doing good, doing good.
All right. Speaking of Patrick, he actually chopped up a lot of audio for us, so shout out to my man Patrick. We appreciate him. That's why he's the real MVP. He brings the je ne sais quoi, if you will, to the program.
Say what?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm hanging out with Craig way too much. Knowing those Craig Way words or references. You can be a part of the show. You're the heartbeat of it, the pulse of it. Hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge. Any Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. Any Twitterverse. Also is a new theme Thursday.
That's right.
Which means there is a new theme, and Harge and I will try to figure it out based on the clues that trickled out, the breadcrumbs that are left for us by my man Patrick because for the songs during the break. So we'll get into a new theme Thursday a little bit later on in the show too. All right, let's start off going behind the burnt orange curtain and talk some Texas football. There are a lot of random Texas football nuggets to get into because we have audio from Sark. So Sark was actually on with 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. And he was on there because Jane Slater, I believe, hooked it up because Jane Slater is a lifetime Longhorn herself, was once on Longhorn Network.
LHN.
And, yeah, she does great work, of course, but now she covers the Dallas Cowboys and does stuff for NFL Network. She's great. She was on 105.3 The Fan, guest hosting, I think, their morning show. And Sark was on with him. Sark was asked about a number of different topics. Shout out to my man Patrick who chopped up all the audio. Here is Sark when he was asked about the draft pick by the Cowboys drafting DeMarvion Overshown. Here is Sark on 105.3 The Fan.
Yeah, I think this is an awesome fit for Demo. Obviously I worked for Dan Quinn for 2 years in Atlanta, and I know the premise of that defense, and it's about running and hitting. It's about having players that are versatile, that can fly to the football, but have a high football IQ, recognizing situations as they come. And I think that all those things epitomize Demo. You know, he can run. He will strike you when he gets there. He's very versatile. Obviously, a guy who played on the roof when he first got to Texas, came down, played off the edge, in space. We moved him into the box, and then we actually put him on the edge and let him rush the passer this past year. So I think there's a level of versatility there. Really high football IQ guy. I just think it's an awesome fit schematically and personality-wise.
All right. I think we all agree. I mean, we were saying that before the draft.
Oh, yeah.
And we all agreed. Dan Quinn agreed, too. That's why Dan Quinn decided to draft him. And
pound the table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now we know why.
Yep.
If their plan was to move Micah Parsons full-time to defensive end to have no snaps at all at off-ball linebacker, or if he does, very few, if any, and they've been progressing toward that, that special kind of designation for him for a while, even though I do think he was kind of the best defense, positionless football player on defense in the NFL. But either way, now it makes DeMarvion Overshown even more valuable as a third-round pick. This is a guy potentially that could be that versatile weapon, that off-ball linebacker for them that Micah Parsons was, but now he is going to hone in on weaponizing his ability to rush the passer, which honestly could be the best pass rusher in the league if he focuses just on that job. And I think that's what the Dallas Cowboys are thinking about too.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the way that DeMarvion Overshown fits into the scheme, I keep saying it, and I'm going to continue to say it until it looks different. Cam Chancellor. Cam Chancellor being able to stand in the box, come downhill, and be able to not only come in and support the run, he's also able to get back and drop into pass coverage. They talked about his hands before. You got a chance to see him make some plays on the football. That is going to be a huge part of the success and the failures of the Dallas Cowboys. You talk about what Micah Parsons is going to be able to do to shift on the defensive end. Maybe he's not going to be there the entire time, but he could probably play more times at that defensive end because now you feel comfortable enough to bring in a body like DeMarvion Overshown. As soon as he can pick up the defense and understand what teams are going to be trying to do to him, this is a perfect fit to him. I'm excited about it. I'm definitely, when the Cowboys picked him, it made it a lot easier for me to continue to cheer for him because the conversation was always about Bijan. Well, I got a Longhorn on my Cowboys that I've always been a big fan of. I've got an Agent Zero T-shirt. I've been on the board for him since the very beginning.
Last Stand.
Yeah, Last Stand. Shout out. What up, Mike Murphy? But now you're going to have to give me some Cowboy gear with DeMarvion Overshown on it.
And what was his number again?
0. Oh, he's 35 now.
35
okay.
now. Yes, I know they got their NFL numbers now. But to your point, it does make a lot of sense. DeMarvion Overshown said when the Cowboys drafted him, I watched one of the post-draft interviews, and he said that one of the things that attracted the Cowboys to him was his ability to rush off the edge. So once again, shout out to PK and Sark and the staff over there and GP2 for deciding to weaponize DeMarvion Overshown in that capacity because he's a natural pass rusher. He just whatever it is, he has a great instinct for rushing the passer off the edge. He had a 25% pressure rate. So I think, they're looking long-term. I know they love Leighton Vander Esch and Damone Clark. Those are their top two linebackers right now. But if you want to look at a guy like Micah Parsons moving it to defensive end, and like I said, I support the move. I love being able to move him around the chessboard, but I support the move. I found this stat, weeks 11, he only played 170 off-ball snaps last season. So he was already trending toward playing more defensive end. He was at 693 snaps at DN. But weeks 11 through 18, only 20 snaps at off-ball linebacker.
Nice.
The deeper they got into it, in the meat of the season, they decided, you know what? If he can be the best pass rusher in the league at DN, to hell with positionless football. Let's just let him be the best pass rusher in the league at DN. And I can't argue with that. But I think DeMarvion Overshown may be their backup plan to try to fit their philosophy of positionless football, Dan Quinn's on defense, because they still might have that guy.
Right.
If they develop him correctly.
They do have that guy.
They do have that guy.
We've seen it. We've grown with it. We saw the change of a guy that was coming down from safety. We talked about that before. Now he's bought into the linebacker position. Well, the beautiful part about it is he's played both. So if Dan Quinn is looking at him to use him as that positionless football, that hybrid type of player, he's the perfect example. He's the one that you can mold that clay with because now he's opened himself up. And here's the other thing. You're looking at Jayron Kearse and what Jayron Kearse is for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. This is an opportunity to mold the replacement for Jayron Kearse if something were to happen where he decides he's going to go somewhere.
Your Cam Chancellor take, which I love, by the way.
Yeah, then
it's a money take.
This is it right here.
I don't disagree with that at all.
This is the time for you to look at it, spend time in the linebackers room, spend time in the safeties room, in the secondary room, and be able to be that hybrid player that Dan Quinn likes to put out there.
That's a great point. And the chance says Coach Steven doesn't want to use the word positionless. He won't use it, but he's referencing it, but he won't use it at all.
He's throwing those keywords out there.
He is. Texters also want us to remember 2008 Titans in regards to our conversation about Longhorn-influenced NFL teams.
Yep.
And also, Texas says, don't forget about punter Jesus in Seattle, too.
Yep.
You're talking about Long Ball Dixon.
That's it.
Yes, Long Ball Dixon. That's what I like to call him, long balls.
And think about this, what Michael Dixon became. Sean Adams, God rest his soul, and Chip Brown were doing radio together at the time when Michael Dixon had just gotten here. Michael Dixon kicked the ball over Red River. Like, he shanked it so bad while people were there, and everybody was like, that's our kicker? Our punter? That is going to be our punter?
Well, remember, he also had that play where he decides to keep it.
Yeah,
on the snap. I guess it was a bot snap or whatever, but he decided to sneak it.
He thought he had some room over there.
He's like, I got that dog in me. He wanted y'all to know, even then, I got that dog in me. Now, it didn't work out.
It was more of a chihuahua.
Hey,
Still a dog.
It is still a dog. And then later on, of course, he became one of the greatest punters in college football history.
For sure.
Guy became the MVP of a bowl game.
What did Mike Gundy say? What did Mike Gundy say?
As a punter.
The punter almost beat us himself.
Yeah.
Because he kept putting us in bad situations.
He became the MVP of a bowl game.
Yeah. That's amazing.
How many kickers have done that?
Never, unless his name was Janikowski, probably.
Yeah.
You know?
Long Balls was a beast.
He was.
He still is, by the way.
But okay, so I guess we need to be more specific for this. Derek Johnson, Priest Holmes, and Jamal Charles are in the record books, like as the top tackler, number one, and number two in rushing for the Chiefs. What other players have been able to do that for an organization? I think that would be the other one.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, it's like Chiefs are the winner.
Yeah, the Chiefs by
far and ahead.
Yeah.
They are. If you look at Longhorn accomplishments and achievements, accolades in the NFL with one specific team, it's got to be what the Chiefs.
Yeah. And then they picked up two more this year.
Yeah.
Oh, great point.
They picked up.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
free agency too, and
because they got
Coburn
and then Jameson, right? Or Jameson went to San
No, he went
Francisco.
to San Fran.
Cook.
No, he got Anthony Cook.
Anthony Cook.
But don't forget, they also
had.
had Okafor on that team when they went to the Super Bowl.
All right.
Yeah.
And
so
is it
Kansas City by
Did
far.
Minihue go there too?
Minahue's there now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. All right. So, all right. This
Winner.
conversation is done.
Yeah.
Done.
No mas.
It is the Chiefs. Yeah, no question.
You know who does it? The Cowboys.
No.
Cowboys will not be in that conversation.
But it depends on what Overshawn does.
Here we go.
Maybe he can at least make it interesting.
He can start trending in that direction. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff on the Specs Text line. Appreciate you guys. All right, getting back to the audio we have here from Sark on 105.3 The Fan. He was asked about the quarterbacks. And Jane referenced the national narrative that Arch Manning's performance, his first impression to the nation in the spring game for Texas was underwhelming. So here is Sark's comments when she asked him about his thoughts about his quarterback, his young quarterback, Arch Manning, and his first impression in the spring game.
Hey, he's on the right trajectory that he should be on. He's a true freshman in college. He really should still be in high school. Just finished his first semester on the 40 acres. And so there is a definite transition there. There's a transition to college life. There's a transition to the scheme that he's hasn't been accustomed to. There's a transition to the speed of the game and how it goes. So there were a lot of really good moments that Arch had throughout the spring. And there was a couple tough days. And, I think he and I could both agree that wasn't his best day, but we weren't great around him either. But I think there's a lot of room to grow for him this summer. There's going to be a lot of room for him to grow in fall camp. But ultimately, it's a great room that we have with Quinn Ewers, with Malik Murphy, with Arch. That's what you got to have in college football. You got to have a room that is pulling for one another, that is willing to develop at their own pace, whatever they need. But I'm super pumped that Arch Manning's on our team, and he's going to be a great Longhorn before it's all said and done.
I agree. I mean, that's the luxury is for Texas. There's no urgency for Arch Manning to play, no matter how you feel about where he is in the rate of his development. There's no, especially now that Malik Murphy has decided with the transfer portal closed that he is staying as the backup quarterback here at Texas. You got your returning starter in Quinn Ewers, and you also have a veteran in Charles Wright, who we never talk about.
Right.
He's also a veteran that is still there. There's no urgency for Arch Manning to play, and hopefully everybody stays healthy and you can redshirt Arch Manning.
Right. And that's That's what the plan is supposed to be. We've talked about that from the very beginning. The noise comes from the people that haven't been paying attention.
Outside,
the noise comes from people that are always looking for a story to talk about Texas because they know they're going to get some clicks. Oh, he's terrible. He's behind this guy and that guy. Of course he was going to be. We weren't expecting Arch Manning to come in and take the reins. You and I have been sitting on here talking about this is Quinn's job. We're crazy to think if it's somebody else's.
But nationally, there was a Quinn versus Arch
and forgot about Malik.
Competition narrative, yes.
Right.
Malik shattered that,
Exactly.
by the way. In the
And it's
spring
like
game,
ding,
shattered
ding, ding.
that. Yes, he
but
shattered
here's
that.
the thing. I got a chance to listen to your guy, Bobby Burton, who
shout out
does
to
a
Bobby
great
Burton.
job. And,
Yeah.
and he broke it down perfectly with his interview. He was like, guys, he was in with the third-string offensive line, third-string offense, period, going against the ones and twos. Of course he's going to look like he was under duress because he was. It wasn't because he couldn't read the defense. It was because the people were coming through, and they were coming through cleanly. What else are you expected to do? Yes, he looked a little nervous on his first throw, but he completed it. You look at everything else. He made the right decision to get out there and run. The thing about it is put him with the first. Put him with the first team and see how he reacts. Put him with the second team and see how he reacts. The people that are outside, and this is what credit to Sark and everybody over there at Belmont, at Moncrief, they're always talking about, don't worry about the noise that's outside. Continue to look at what's going on inside. We're going to talk about it every day. That's what we do. But as long as those guys in there are understanding that the process is going in the right direction, there's nothing to worry about because we do have a starting quarterback. The problem would have been if he'd have went out there and did play with the first team and everybody saw him go out there and really play, then everybody's like, uh-oh, now we really got a controversy. There's no controversy. Dude should still be in high school. He should be at the prom this weekend.
No, I think most Longhorn fans
Instead, he's at a
understand
sorority
that
party.
hey, I think he prefers a sorority party
ding,
over the
ding.
prom. Yeah, but no doubt about it. I totally agree with that. All right, let's get to the next piece of audio here. Here's Steve Sarkisian on 105.3 The Fan being asked about Quinn Ewers and his development so far.
Yeah, I think there's a real conscious effort when Quinn came back, really going into the bowl game. I thought he actually played really well in the bowl game. But coming out of the new year, I just think there was a new sense of I don't want to call it commitment because he's always been into it, but just a new sense of this is his team. And I think it started in our winter conditioning program. He was definitely, just working, engaged, leading, doing all the right things. Then it goes to, getting his hair cut, trimming the beard, doing those types of things. Then it went to spring practice where I just thought he was in such command. He was very comfortable with what we're doing. There was a sense of urgency that I liked. But you could feel a guy who was in year two, right, in our program and in our system and much, minimized the mistakes, but yet capitalized on the big playability and the arm talent that he has. So in the end, it's that comfort level of year two and it feeling like his team, feeling like his offense. And that's what the quarterback's got to have, because at the end of the day, the quarterback's ultimate job is to instill belief in the entire organization and in his teammates and in the coaches that he's that guy and that he's going to get it done. And that's why it's the most important position in sports. And I think that Quinn is really started to do that in 2023.
I love the way Sark put it because I even think he did. The reason he struggled with trying to find the actual word to describe the renewed sense of what's going on with Quinn, because like you say, it's not commitment because he's been committed to the game. He's committed to his craft. Who's not? I mean, you wouldn't make it to this level if you're not committed to your craft. I think it's a renewed sense of purpose. I think the purpose is leadership because I do think he understands now that I can't avoid it. They're always going to look to me when there is a crisis or when there is adversity. I'm at that position. That's why I start talking about I have to inspire men. You're in a room full of alpha males, and you got to inspire them, and you have to lead them.
Make them believe. Man.
Exactly.
Make them
and
believe.
You've been in baseball, same thing. Football, same thing. It all basketball, same thing. All right, and you can even go to the women's side. It's just an alpha personality, and you got to be the alpha of the alphas. All right, you got to be the lead wolf in the pack. And if you are, if you're fragile, all right, mentally or spiritually, or if you're not actually leading by example on the field, your leadership will be questioned.
Yep, no doubt.
The leadership
No doubt.
will be questioned. People look at you and go, man, he's a
I don't know about this dude.
he's a false leader. He's not a real one.
Yeah.
He's not a real one. He ain't got that dog in him. And I think that's what he's working on now, that renewed sense of leadership. No, I must lead by example, but also I must lead with all, obviously as a vocal leader too, that's part of it. But I must go out there and inspire my teammates. And
Yeah.
I don't know if last year, I'm not saying he didn't make progress last year, but I don't think anybody will say that he was a leader on the team. He was in a natural leadership position, but he wasn't a leader on the team. Rojo and Bijan were the leaders.
Exactly, and I think them leaving too opens up a void where it's easier to step in there and start taking it. And once you start it, it becomes easier to go with it.
Yeah.
So once those guys are gone, and then you go, okay, now everyone's looking at me because there's no one else to look at in this locker room. Right. I need to step up and do it now. Now's my chance. I didn't have it at Ohio State. I didn't have it when I got here. I was coming in as a transfer, and Roshan was already here, and Bijan was already here. Now I'm the guy. And when that void is open and there is nowhere else to turn, I think he's stepping up into that role nicely of, all right, if y'all looking at me, let's go.
Exactly. I'm ready to lead. Whether it be the drills, whether it be organizing workouts, whatever it is, I'm ready to be that guy. I love the text who says he's learned to take ownership. Yeah, it's supposed to be your team. But I can't just give it to you. You got to earn it. You got to go earn it out there in practice, earn the damn job, and then you got to earn the respect of your own teammates. I can support you. I can basically campaign for you, all right? But you got to go still earn it with your teammates. You earn the respect, and you got to earn the job. And that's on you. And then there should be something inside of you, because I remember when it was my turn when Quentin Jammer left and young Nathan Vasher behind me, young Cedric Griffin, young Michael Huff, and that was my DB room.
Right.
That's my DB room. Y'all going to have a chance. It'll be yours one day, but it's mine now.
Right.
We're going to operate a certain way, and we're going to play at a certain standard. And I'm the alpha, I'm the dog, I'm the lead wolf in this pack. And you gotta relish in that and want that responsibility. It's a lot of responsibility now. Because you got to perform. And if you don't, everybody going to look at you again and go, man, I thought you said you was going to be the leader here and set the example.
Well, I don't know. I don't know when it started prior to this moment, but I remember in the bowl game, he took over. You saw a little bit more emotion on the sideline. You saw him going over to people, really getting in their face and letting them know that we need to get this thing going. That was the part where I was like, okay, now he's starting to say, all right, those guys are gone. Mm-hmm. It's mine now. So that might have been that moment to where it was like, okay, they're not playing in the bowl game. They're going to be at practices, but this is my team now. I'm the captain now. Yeah. And he went out there and started to do that. And again, go back to what Sark said in that piece. He was talking about he went and shaved. He went and cut his hair. He did some certain things that people can view him. I know it's not always about the hair, but appearance is very important.
Well, part of the transformation.
It's part of his growth.
Yeah.
It's part of his growth. It's fun for a while. Mm-hmm. Well, now people got to start looking at me a little bit different, so I want them to truly look at me different because I'm presenting something different to them now.
Totally agree. Yeah. All right, here's a little bit more Sark audio so we can get through it here. I know we're up against the break. Here is Sark. He was asked by Bobby Belt, who does a great job for Dallas Cowboys, covering Dallas Cowboys, I should say. But he was asked about spring standouts and who stood out in the spring to him. Here is Steve Sarkisian.
Well, I think at the end, I know there's this microscope on just the spring game. I look at the totality of 15 practices. I really like kind of our offensive skill positions at this point. I think about our receiver core with Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, the addition of A.D. Mitchell, getting Isaiah Nair healthy, the addition of a couple freshmen here in Jonte Cook and DeAndre Moore. You mix that in with that tight end J.T. Sanders. I feel like we've got a lot of weapons now, which I haven't never felt that comfortable before. I think defensively we got a lot of versatility in the back end, but Byron Murphy out of DeSoto has just been an absolute stud for 15 practices on the defensive line. So that's been a real positive. And then a newcomer who, just because everybody we're talking about that, Anthony Hill out of Denton Ryan has just been, you can tell, you can see it. So we got to find the best way to put him in the best position to have success.
All right, he's echoing the same thing he said here on the 40 Acres about the two defensive guys. Though, remember he was asked about who are your best pass rushers, and he said Byron Murphy and Anthony Hill, two best pass rushers for him. And now he's just saying those are the two biggest standouts. Anthony Hill's going to play a lot just because he's going to be in that overshown role that he was in last year, maybe even situation as a pass rusher. But even more so than that, I know, people like David Benda has played well, but still looking for somebody to essentially win that off-ball linebacker spot opposite Jalen Ford. And young Anthony Hill's got higher upside than probably damn near anybody on that defense.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about it. When he gets that kind of praise on a national stage where Sark will bring his name up as a freshman, guy that, again, this is the contrast, right? Oh, he should still be in high school when he said about Arch. Now he's looking at Anthony Hill's like, this dude's going to be a problem. We got to figure out a way to get him on the field because you need to fill a void. You don't need to fill the void at quarterback. So his conversation is a little bit different when it comes to Anthony Hill. So we've all talked about it. Everybody's told us he looks like a grown man out there, and we saw it during the spring game. There's just certain things that he did that we were all like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Looks a little bit easy for him. Not too easy, but I'm saying his movements are with ease.
Yeah, when Sark also brought up the skill positions on offense. We'll get into this later on, but On3 actually ranked Texas wide receiving core in rooms one of the highest in all of college football. All right, last question here, and the question is actually in the audio, so I'll just leave it up to Jane Slater. Shout out to Jane Slater, lifetime Longhorn, because I thought it was an appropriate question to ask because Sark has not been tempering expectations. He has been pretty high on his team, and he's embracing the high expectations. He wants his team to know that he thinks they're going to be really good, and he wants the fans to know this team is going to be really good, and we're all excited about it. But the question that everybody wants to know is the question that Jane Slater asks.
Real quick, is Texas back?
You know I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say this. I really like our football team, and I like our team because of the talent. I like our team because of the continuity of our staff for 3 years now. I like our team because of the culture we built. So I'm excited about our season. What does back mean? I don't know, but I do like our football team, and I think that we got a chance to be a championship football team this fall, so we'll see.
Woo! Look at it, boy.
Is Texas back? Who knows? We don't know. Nobody knows yet.
What did Jay say? She was like, dang it, I almost had him to do it.
To be determined, gentlemen. To
there
be determined.
It is. That's right.
Yeah.
But I like TBD, man. I like TBD.
I'd rather have that because last time one of the lifetime Longhorn told us Texas was back, he lied. But I love Sam Ehlinger. I love him.
They were back for that game.
I love
They
him.
were back for that game.
Back.
They were back for a visit.
So they were back for a while. Oh wow! No, I'm just joking. We love Sam Ehlinger, man. He's family.
That's right.
We come back. We'll get into an NFL news, notes, and nuggets, gentlemen. Harge, I thought about you when I saw this story about Aaron Rodgers. I thought about you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to give you the floor when we come back.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Aaron Rodgers update. Should the Cowboys pursue a wide receiver in free agency and why fifth-year options are important? All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday, and based on the songs that are played, Harge and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the new theme of the day. I think we all got it.
I would agree with you, sir. I'm going to go with Cinco de Mayo is tomorrow for 400, Alex.
That is correct.
Yes, it is.
Good job.
Yep.
Sometimes it's really easy.
Sometimes it's there for you.
Sometimes it's right
easy.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, no doubt.
I almost went Star Wars. There's not 7 Star Wars songs I can play though.
Yeah, this is tequila. What is this?
This tequila.
Yeah. Okay.
Every
and
time I hear this song, I always think of Pee Wee Herman.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dancing on the bar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's why the actual Pee Wee Herman dance, right?
Yep.
He does the actual Pee Wee Herman dance.
Exactly. It is crazy that I saw someone post that meme, but it is true. There's kids going to prom dressed like Pee Wee Herman now. That style has somehow made it into pop culture.
Well, because loose-fitting suits went out of style. I used to have like looser-fitting suits, and they went out of style. Like now, all the suits are tighter-fitting suits.
Yeah.
Like look at Manny Acho; he can't find a suit that fits him, right? Because
Exactly.
they literally, his suits are tailored, but they're tailored to fit really tight.
Yeah.
And in
Shout
addition
out
to
to
that.
Rick Soto.
Yeah,
Shout out
exactly.
to
Right?
him.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it looks beautiful. It's fantastic. I'm just saying, like, that's the way all suits fit now. And now flooding. Remember flooding? People used to make fun of you for flooding,
Oh, now.
but now it's a style.
Yep.
NBA players, they walk into pregame, they're flooding. That's just a fashion thing now. So it's like, stuff that we used to kind of mock is now considered, cool.
Yeah,
That's all
no,
it is.
believe me,
And you're right.
I'm still very much lost in the fact that ankles are an okay thing for men to show off. I was like,
Especially
Oh,
when
it's
they're not
Exactly.
if they ashy. If they ashy ankles, they're not supposed
That
to
is
do
fair.
that.
That is fair. You don't want to do that with the ass ankles. But yeah, I agree with you. Though that's the Pee Wee Herman suit. It may not. They may not be trying to show off the Pee Wee Herman
Right.
suit, but yeah, it looks like that sometimes. Especially because the bow tie is back.
The bow tie is back.
The bow tie is in vogue now too, so
man.
you can see the bow tie too. Pee Wee Herman. That was kind of a Pee Wee Herman thing. Remember the Pee Wee Herman show as opposed
Oh,
to
yeah.
Yeah.
Pee Wee
As opposed
Herman's
to-
Playhouse.
the Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse.
Yeah.
thing?
I used to watch that Saturday
I used to watch
mornings.
that all the time too, man.
Yeah.
Back in the
Phil
day.
Hartman was on that. There was some other,
Yeah,
like
there
the
was- they had a
mailman
bunch
was
of-
always like someone pretty famous.
That was some
Then, like, Phil
wild
came out of
stuff. That was some wild stuff when you go back and watch it.
Yeah.
There's something going on there. You got to be.
There's a lot going on. I
Yeah, there's some
love
hidden-
the
there's
Pee Wee
some hidden
Herman movie,
messages
though.
in there.
I love that movie, though.
The movie's not bad.
Yeah.
The movie's not bad.
Large Marge sent ya.
All right, there you go. New theme of the day, of course, Cinco de Mayo. All right, gentlemen, let's get into this Aaron Rodgers update, and then we'll get to the Cowboy story here as well. So, Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, Jets. Everybody's excited. As a matter of fact, there's a report that the players are starstruck.
Yeah.
Around Aaron Rodgers right now, which makes sense. I mean, hell, I was starstruck when I played with Jerry Rice. I mean, you
Yeah.
play with a great player you've been looking up to most of your, young football life.
Yeah.
That's not a shock when they end up becoming a teammate of yours. It's a bit surreal.
It is definitely surreal. I did it with some baseball
Right,
players that I
yeah.
was with. I was like, wait a minute, I'm in the same locker room with these dudes?
Exactly.
And they talking to me?
And they talking to me?
And they know my name?
Yeah,
You know what
there
I'm
you go.
saying? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. So I totally get that. So I was like that with Champ Bailey.
Yeah.
When I played with Champ, I was like, man, Champ Bailey?
Yeah.
Dude's-
I'm trying to lock down with him.
What? I'm trying to
Yeah.
hang out with Champ. I'm trying to
Yeah.
hang out. Forget that football stuff. I'm trying to hang out and kick it with Champ
Yeah.
Bailey. Anyway, but getting back to the Aaron Rodgers report. So coming from Pro Football Talk, apparently an appearance on Pat McAfee
Of
for
course.
Aaron Rodgers, he admitted that he is going to be present for, quote, more than half of the remaining offseason workouts.
Yeah.
There you go, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
More than half.
What I say, man?
Hey, so
What'd
is
I
that
say?
okay? Is this sufficient, Harts? More than half? Because you thought he wasn't gonna show up at all.
Yeah, this is more than efficient. This is more than half for me. Because I'm sitting here saying, listen, man, you got impressionable young players. You just brought it up, man. You talked about how everybody's kind of starstruck of being around him. But then you go out there, you got a guy that was rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year in the AFC, who is trying his best and who was very frustrated with the quarterback play that he was subjected to last year, and he still made it work.
1,000.
Right?
A G.
And was the player of the year.
A G.
So you're sitting there and you got a chance now to play with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. And remember, Aaron Rodgers was so critical of the teammates that he had for the last couple years at the wide receiver position, but he was never there to work with them. So that was my problem with him. If he would have been there for the workouts in the offseason practicing or invited them down to the beach like Tom Brady does, like Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes brought everybody to Texas to come and work out because he wanted to get it right. If Aaron Rodgers were to do something like that and then they go out and perform and the players weren't doing their job, then I'd be like, all right, Aaron, I get it, man. You got every right to be frustrated. But if you're not showing up to help these kids, to make them understand what's the depth do you want me to be on this? When you give me a hand signal, how do you want me to react to it? But that would have been a problem to me. So for him to say, I'm going to be there for more than half, that will suffice for your boy. You know what I'm saying? But he also brought in Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard, two players that Randall Cobb, I need a friend like that. I think I got a lot of boys that are real tight with me that we would do anything for. Bruh.
No,
Randall Cobb and the relationship that he has with Aaron Rodgers, he's getting me paid every single year I'm at the end of my rope. Remember when he was with you guys?
How many years since he's been on the Cowboys?
Ooh.
And then it could not could not get on the field on the Cowboys.
And he couldn't do it with the Texans.
And how many years has it been since he was too old to play in any other team in the league?
Exactly.
Dude, Tristan Thompson's doing the same thing with LeBron.
He is.
And we're giving him a problem, too.
As a friend of LeBron, friend of Aaron Rodgers, you just need friends like that.
Need some friends,
Friends
man.
that are so powerful, they will just get you paid to be around them. Honestly, Oprah did
How's your billing?
Oprah did it with Gail.
Yeah. Gail flipped it.
She made Gail like famous. She's like a TV host.
Yeah, she's hosting a show with Charles Barkley.
Exactly. She's like, hey, man, you know what? You my homegirl.
Yeah.
I want you to be famous with me. I don't want to have to keep giving you money. I think you can make your own money. I'll just make you.
No, I love it. And I think it makes sense if you're going into a room and be like, Randall Cobb will be at all those offseason workouts to help the young wide receivers be like, hey, this is what Aaron Rodgers, just let you know.
Point.
Aaron Rodgers likes it this way. Just to let you know, Aaron Rodgers likes his coffee with 2 sugars.
Yeah.
That's a good. No, I hate to. Listen, I know you're being serious, but it's funny, but also so true. It is.
It's very true.
That's exactly what they're there for. When those days he's not there, no. He wants you to run the 6 route a little shorter than that. He doesn't like that long because he believes the DB is going to have leverage on the outside, that kind of stuff. But that actually is helpful.
Yeah.
Then sign him up as a coach.
Because they're running.
Well, put him in a room as a tutor.
He is a player coach at this point.
Yeah.
Remember,
Player coach,
the NBA-ification of the NFL is part of it because Tom Brady kind of became that with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Tom Brady wanted to be a front office executive. He wanted to be the Jackie Moon.
Yes.
Right?
He is Jackie Moon. He wanted to be Jackie Moon
in the NFL. So, Patrick, I think you're right about that. That's exactly why he's there. It's like, I know he's not going to be necessarily getting a lot of snaps, but he's going to be coaching these young wideouts.
He will play on third down.
Yeah, because
Yep.
Aaron knows where he'll be on third down. I know he'll be exactly where I want him to be on this route combination.
No doubt.
Wow, that's a great point though, Patrick. I didn't think about that. You're right. Now that actually makes me feel better about the Randall Cobb signing.
Yeah.
Actually, it does.
But it is funny that a lot of life is managing expectations. And
It is
Aaron
Jimmy.
Rodgers has done such a good job of lowering expectations of him to do anything in life that he's like, I'll be at more than half. Everyone's like, wow, good job, Aaron. Really stepping up, doing a half-ass job.
You're committing to us. We appreciate that. For more than half.
That's the part right there that just really cracks me up.
I would have preferred most of rather than more than half. More than half. That could be like just literally 51% or 50.5%. But you're right. This is
No, that's like me leaving during Rod's rant.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Hey man,
I'll be back.
I've done more than half of the show. I gotta go.
What's he doing for the rest of the time? Is he
I'm
really
hanging out? Apparently, going to every game in New York.
I know, and he's got the psychedelic conference he's speaking at.
That's
So I
why
know
he's
that's
going to
a
be
thing.
more than half because he's got to go to the other half. He's going to be at the psychedelic conference.
Oh, yeah, another darkness retreat too? Other stuff like
'cause,
that?
Before I go to the season, I need to get my mind right.
More than half.
More than half.
Wow.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, come on, man. But I got what I wanted.
You got what you wanted.
I got what I wanted.
You said, I wonder if he'll show up at all. He is showing
Exactly.
up.
And I was glad to see that because it's more important for those kids, younger players, not kids. Well, they're kids to me because I'm 50. But you look at what these players are and the expectations of this team because for them, they're thinking now we legitimately have a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Yes, they are.
They are legit looking at it, so they're going to come in ready to go. They're gonna have themselves prepared. You're gonna see the defense get a little bit more excited about it because they're like, man, we can give up 10 points and win the game now because we got a quarterback that in those pressure situations that's going to lead us down the field because you already got a good running game. You got a wide receiver that's going to score. You brought in Alan Lazard, who's a friend of yours, and you also brought in Randall Cobb. You have positions that will help you win this game. That's the most important part about it.
Yeah, I always say that, picking a quarterback is like picking a significant other, the woman you marry or man, not the hottest person you ever dated. Imagine telling your significant other, hey, I can be there more than half of the time.
Sometimes they want you there less than half of the time.
This is true. I don't know if that's the ideal marriage, but you're right. Sometimes they're
hey,
like,
man, some people live that. Hey, they live their
home.
life differently.
Every marriage is different.
Do you think that he
Every
like looked
marriage
at
is
a
different.
calendar and realized he was going to do like 51%, and he's like, what is the best way I can phrase this?
Yeah.
Right.
Because if I say most, I'm lying.
Yeah, you don't want to lie.
If I like, where am I at where I'm not lying and I can do it?
Yep.
And he's like, all right, well, there's 14 practices. There's 15 practices. I'm going to go to 8.
Yeah.
More than half.
I said more than half.
He's got-
And
yeah,
technically, I'm correct.
I'm correct. I feel like Aaron Rodgers lives in that technicality.
Yeah, no, he does.
I agree with that.
I think you're right about that gray area. Aaron Rodgers loves the gray area.
Yeah.
He swims.
He stays in the gray
He
area.
stays in the gray, man. He stays in the gray. All right, Cowboys in the gray a little bit too. Let me ask you about this, Harge. Do you think that the Cowboys have all the depth they need at wide receiver?
I think there's some room to grow. I think there's some depth. But here's the deal. I think if they go out and get somebody, it's got to be somebody that is going to be able to be effective immediately. This is the person that I'm thinking it is. You have to bring a guy in that is going to be he's going to have to make an impact right away. Because they've already talked about Jalen Tolbert, right? They expect a lot from Jalen Tolbert. They talk about Simi Fioku. He was supposed to be another guy that was supposed to provide depth at that position. If you can bring in a guy that can jump over those guys, because you've given them every opportunity. You just drafted this guy, second round last year? He's your guy. If you need one experienced guy, it has to be somebody that's a big-time playmaker.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is a wide receiver 4, too, right? Because you figure
it would be somewhere around
yeah,
there.
CeeDee Lamb's 1, Brandon Cooks is
this is
2,
depth.
Michael Gallup is 3. So your main issue is, hey, if someone gets hurt or we need to, fill in a little bit. But I don't think Mike McCarthy's going to be running a ton of 4 wide receiver sets.
Right.
No, but it is. I mean, last year you end up having injuries at the wide receiver
You
position.
want to have some more depth for
Yeah.
injuries, but I don't know if you're going to be able to find somebody for the right price that is a immediate impact player. You may need to get somebody. It's like, if someone more in how T.Y. Hilton was last year, where you go, hey man, he may not be healthy right now, but he's going to come back, and we'll just get him before that, or somebody like that is more in a case of emergency break glass guy.
Yeah.
Than getting somebody who you're going to tell, hey, we need you to be really good enough to be our second wide receiver, but also you're not going to play.
Cowboys won't rule it out. Will McClay said, if there's an opportunity to do something in free agency, we'll look at it. He said, we feel good about the group because they've been here, they've been in the system, they were players that got drafted and didn't play for the first year. So we've got to speed up that curve. If we have a problem, we'll go out and get somebody to continue to try and improve. So it seems like they'll probably go into the season regardless, and if they don't like the way these guys look in the offseason or in training camp, then maybe they may make a move. The guys that are out there, T.Y. Hilton, who was with the Cowboys, Keneal Harry, Sammy Watkins, Jarvis Landry is another player that's out there, Kenny Galladay, Julio Jones is out there. So there's some guys out there.
What about Chris Davis? I mean, is his name Chris Davis? Oh, God, what's his name? Not Chris Davis. It's another Davis.
Another Davis.
Big-time wide receiver. Corey Davis.
Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Yes, was with the Titans.
Yeah.
Right?
I think he would
He's
be
out there
somebody
too?
that I would take because he's a lot cheaper than those other names that you just brought up.
Yeah, I mean.
If they have to go make a play on somebody.
Yeah, I agree. But right now, I like the frontline guys. They just have to hope that nobody gets hurt with that frontline group.
Yeah.
But they got to, like I said, I love CD's number one. You brought in Brandon Cooks. You got Michael Gallup, who's coming off the injury, but he should be completely healthy now. But after that, there's a significant drop off.
Big time.
And I mean,
You
we
got to
saw
have somebody to fill in that gap.
Yeah.
and we saw in training camp last year was where the problem started because James Washington goes out, who was supposed to be in that rotation, never got into it because of injury. Michael Gallup was coming up slower than people thought he was going to return and never really got into stride. So there was issues where they got into it pretty quickly. And if you're able to get through training camp healthy, I think you're starting off in a way better wide receiver room than you would have been last year.
Right.
Yeah, you just got to hope Jalen Tolbert, Simi Fajoku, and or the other Jalen. Jalen, what's the latest Jalen at wide receiver they drafted this year? They drafted another Jalen. I just know his name's Jalen. Jalen, it's not Brooks, is it?
Yes, it is Jalen Brooks.
Is it Jalen Brooks?
It is Jalen Brooks.
So it's up.
That's what threw me off with all these Jalens.
Isn't that, but that's basically the group they're hoping separates one of those three. If they don't, then they'll probably have to go do something.
They're going to definitely have to do something because it don't sound like there's a lot of separation.
They're not
there.
excited about those guys
No,
at all.
they're not.
They're not. But that makes me wonder why they didn't draft a receiver earlier in the draft. But
on,
they
man.
also didn't draft a running back in the draft. And when they drafted Deuce Vaughn late, but Deuce Vaughn, like I said,
He's
he's
not
more
that-
of a side dish and not a main course of a running game. They needed a workhorse back, and they didn't really draft one. I
Like
guess they
macaroni
considered-
and cheese.
This may be also where you might need to start looking at the end of the road for Turpin. If you're not using him in the run game, and you're not using him in the pass game, and you're not using him, and in special teams, he hasn't been the electric guy. He was okay,
he was all right.
but if you can go out
Okay.
and get a guy that you're like, all right, well, we can get a wide receiver and put him in that backfield, and he'll be our return guy, and he'll be depth for us at wide receiver.
All right, those are the Deuce Vaughn reps on special team. Deuce can return
Yeah,
too.
but yeah, that may be a roster spot that needs to be opened up if you need to bring in some actual depth. If Turpin can't go out and be wide receiver,
Yeah, 'cause
or if you can get him to try and play in the slot some or something.
Yep.
He doesn't cover kicks either. I don't think. Doesn't he just return kicks? I don't know. If
Yeah, he
covers.
just no. He I
He's
didn't
too
see
small.
him make not
Too
any
small
tackles.
to cover kicks. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
He's so specialized.
It's
Yeah.
so
It
specialized,
don't
and
work
if you're
against him.
not going to use him in the run game or the pass game, you got to use him in one of those
Yeah.
to take the value because he hasn't been Devin Hester-esque
I'm with
No,
you.
he
to,
has
to
not.
be in there to go, oh, we can afford to pay this guy and have a roster spot
Yeah.
for a guy who really is he's okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's not
but
bad.
He's your one trick pony though, and you need somebody that can
Yeah.
be more versatile.
Yeah.
To help you do more things. I totally
Yeah.
agree. All right, we come back. We got the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. New theme Thursday. It is Cinco de Mayo being the new theme because Cinco de Mayo is tomorrow. So celebrating a little bit early right here on Ball Don't Lie. Shout out to my man Patrick for DJing a new theme Thursday. Also, shout out to the Specs text line. You guys have been very active today. We appreciate it. For some reason, that Pee Wee Herman conversation got people up and going, talking about random Pee Wee Herman references on the show. And I did not realize, shout out to the Specs X line, that Lawrence Fishburne, Cowboy Carl.
I knew there was somebody who was trying to picture who that person was. I know there was somebody really famous.
That's amazing. I don't even think I can picture it. I got to go Google that and see if I can see a picture of it. I don't even remember that. That's nice, wild reference there on the Specs Text line. 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. Hards at Hardball Hards in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. Go to FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. As a matter of fact, you can go check out the old Flex shows. You had a Wednesday night Flex yesterday, so shout out to Zach and Cameron and Nolan and C. Did a great job yesterday. And you can go check out the old Flex shows or reviews of the Flex over at FLXATX.com. And also, you can go to FLXATX on all your social media platforms there as well.
That's right. The baseball starts tonight. High school baseball playoffs start tonight. Whether you're rooting for McCallum, Eastview, Navarro, Georgetown, Lassa, Pflugerville, Elgin, Crockett, also Westlake. They played tonight as well. So there's Vandergrift. There's a lot of baseball being played. Round Rock Westwood, Round Rock. There's so much baseball that's going to be going on, and I'm really, really excited. I heard Cam talking about this earlier. Cam was talking about if you get a chance and you want to see Travis Sequoia pitch, one of the top pitchers in the country, a University of Texas commit, he will be pitching tonight, and Cam Parker will be on the call.
Nice. I like that. The Flex fam on the call.
That's right.
All right. So lots of Flex news there for you. Go check out FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. We come back, we'll get into the NBA review of the game last night a little bit, but more about the preview tonight. That's the big game. Lakers versus Warriors, game 2. We'll talk about it, break it all down, and also give you our thoughts and predictions. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when my man Patrick plays jams that are supposed to give us clues and hints as to what the new theme of the day is, but pretty simple today. We all got it. It is a tribute to Cinco de Mayo, which is happening tomorrow, but of course celebrating a little bit early right here on Ball Don't Lie. And this is... Oh, okay, yeah, I hear
Yeah,
it.
this
I
is
really
War.
didn't even reckon. Okay, there you go.
This is the band War.
Self-explanatory. Texter says, make
Cinco de Mayo.
yeah, and also, we can't forget for you Star Wars fans out there, it is a Star Wars related holiday.
It is, May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
Yes, so don't forget about that. I believe Craig Way is the Star Wars nerd of record on our airways. I don't think anybody surpasses his Star Wars nerddom. Because
Yeah, I'd go with that.
he's deep. He's deep into it. I'm not deep. I've seen all of them. Have you even seen all the Star Wars, Harsh?
I'm the early ones, absolutely. Just the ones
Oh, you've
that
not kept up to
I
all
don't
the,
keep-
and then the spin-offs.
I was
and,
part of Star Wars,
know.
Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi,
But, yeah, you
all
haven't kept
that.
up.
I'm all of that. But all that new stuff, I'm not. I tried to get my kids to watch
They
it.
don't
I
like
tried-
it?
No, not it. This is,
Really?
Oh,
Interesting.
and I do want to give you this.
Uh-oh.
So, DJ, we were talking this morning about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, what do you say?
And the conversation that you and Chad were having about it, he's kind of in that realm. He was like, man, I don't like what Marvel's been doing lately, man. There's just bad. I was like, bro, let's just go see the movie. He was like, it was good last time, so I'll go check it out this time. But I'm telling
He's
you.
concerned about the overall Marvel
Yeah,
universe.
he was trying to
and
break
the
it all
direction.
down. And I was like, man, get out my car, man. Go to school. Go to school.
Overall, I'm just concerned.
Yeah,
in
he
a
was like,
in a
man.
macro sense, Dad,
Yeah,
about
he's
whether
like, I'm just not feeling this
I'm
right
not
now, man.
considering where the universe is
Yeah.
going right
Oh,
now.
getting old too
Yeah.
fast.
Man,
Yeah.
that's
I'm
deep.
just worried
Yeah.
about my childhood memories being ruined
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
my newer childhood memories.
Exactly.
Yeah, me and Chad were getting because we are nerds when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But good to know DJ's also a
Yo,
nerd.
he's
like
he's
us.
in with y'all,
There you
man.
go.
He's 100% in.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. That's why I like. He's one, but he's an athletic, popular nerd though. So
Yeah,
his best
he's
kind.
all that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he got all that going for him. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. Try to tell him later on. Don't be ashamed of being a nerd, man. Nerds rule the world.
Believe me, that's what
Later
the
on,
preacher
that's what
is.
you learn. Somebody picking on you for being a nerd, take pride in it.
Yeah, because
And
you're
about-
gonna be hiring him one
Exactly.
day. Exactly.
You gonna be.
That's exactly what I told him. I was
Yeah.
like, man, they're gonna be wanting a job from you.
All
at
y'all
one
little
point,
nerdy
dog.
kids out there, hey,
Keep
you
being
good.
nerds.
You good, man. Take pride in it. Okay.
Stay away from them AIs, though.
Stay away from them chatbots out
There
there,
you
man.
go. Don't- hey, stay away
They're
from
trying
them.
to take your job. That's why they're striking right now. The
There it
writers are.
is.
That's why the
That's right.
writers are striking. All right, Patrick, have you seen all the Star Wars?
I saw the first 3, and then the newer. I saw episode 1 and 3,
Man,
and
so
then
you-
I've checked out.
Okay,
I'm
so
done.
basically, you've seen
Yeah.
less. You've seen less than half. You're like
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
Well, now there's like 40 of them.
yes, there's actually now
And
they're
hats-
spin-offs.
Hats off to Disney for making it where I'm the jerk for not watching it. Where when I grew up, you were the jerk for watching it.
Yeah, you're the nerd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a
You're the
nerd.
nerd.
And now, like I'm like, oh, I'm just not really into it. Like, what's wrong with you? You suck. You don't like it? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's not my thing. Enjoy it. I don't care.
No, man,
I
they
don't get
really
why.
did. They
Disney flipped it.
They did. They really. That's a great point because I actually reading an article about how the Star Wars themed Legos
Yeah.
helped save Lego. Because it became such a big thing to have the Star Wars theme like Legos, and then they started doing like themes of all types of stuff, like themes of
Well, the merchandise
Lord of the
and-
Rings, but I think it started with the Star Wars themed Legos, and they were like, man, people like these themes of Legos. Let's go with these
Yeah.
themes, and then from that point on, it just took off.
And the merchandise for Star Wars, that was a whole deal with Spaceballs. When Mel Brooks was doing it,
love Spaceballs.
he asked George Lucas if he could do it, and he was like, you can do it, but you cannot sell any merch. Because I don't want it to get messed up with our merch.
Okay.
It's like, I don't want you to sell any toys or anything because that'll get messed in with our toys, and I don't want, like, that's where we make our money for real, is the toys now.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Spaceballs too.
They never made a sequel, did they?
No,
Spaceballs.
I don't remember
No, I
seeing
don't think
that.
they
I don't
did.
think so.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Because it would have degraded the entire brand and the product. But Texter says Captain Kirk could kick Han Solo's ass. Trekkies don't like the Star Wars and Trekkies very
Hey,
different.
look, most people are
Yes.
fine with both, and
Yes, this is
I
true.
don't think there's too many that are really one-sided, but there are some.
No, it's like
there are some.
No, it's like the Marvel DC universe.
Yep,
like
yep, yep. You
DC
can't-
people are like, oh man, the DC and Marvel.
Yeah,
I
you
think-
can't flip that script.
Yeah, like some people mix it up. It's like, It's like offensive, like
Yeah.
blasphemy. Like, don't mix up those universes. What are you
It's
talking
like-
about?
that's like
Batman and
people-
Superman, different
Except
universe.
people who are like, I watch college football, but I can't watch the NFL. I'm like, I like football.
That's me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. Do I prefer? I don't prefer one to the other, really. I mean, I guess I may talk about one more than the other, but
But no, but I enjoy watching both.
I
There's no
agree.
point where I'm going to be like, I'm picking a side.
Yeah.
I like both.
I'm with you. Like, football to me is like sex. It's even when it's bad, it's good. Yeah, but I won't watch I'm not watch the AFL a lot and like. the
No, I haven't. I
USFL.
don't watch
So-
because there's other thing like that. It's not appointment viewing. If it's on, I will watch it. Like if it's on in the room and I'm not doing anything, I'll be watching that. But yeah, it's not appointment viewing by any means.
Yeah, it is for gamblers.
it is
for
There's some
gamblers.
gamblers
That's
out there
right.
who are watching it.
I ain't
no
got
doubt.
enough money to be that.
Ding, 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 ding. Hey, if I keep betting this way, I won't have enough money to do it either.
Shout out. All right, let's get to the NBA here, gentlemen. Let's preview first, actually, and then we can get to the review of these Celtics because it was just a bludgeoning. I
Yes,
mean,
it was.
there's not really a lot to cover in that matchup.
really
the
not.
Celtics just beat down the 76ers. And actually, and Joel Embiid did play early on, but he faded fast. But we'll get into that Celtics win. Let's talk about the Lakers and the Warriors, gentlemen, game 2. And do we think this is a bounce back game for the Warriors? And how do they adjust to what the game plan was for the Lakers? Because we talked about it yesterday ad nauseum. The Golden State Warriors were invited by the Lakers to shoot the three-point shot. Patrick talked about it. They gave them lots of space, a ton of space, and the Golden State Warriors kept, chunking it up. And they did. By the way, this is the most prolific three-point shooting team and the best three-point shooting team arguably in history. They went 21 of 53, so right under 40% from three-point range. They actually outscored the Lakers by 45 points from three-point range because the Lakers were just 6 of 25. But the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size. But the Lakers were plus 20 from behind the free throw line, and they also were plus 26 in points in the paint. In a nutshell, that is your game.
Yeah.
So if the Warriors can hit a couple of more three-pointers and maybe go to the free throw line a little bit more, they could have a chance to win that game.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this. What I strongly believe the Warriors need to do, they need to start attacking the lane and seeing if they can get free throws. If they can get to the free throw line more times than what they did last time, because the difference was 5 points, man. And you only shot 6 free throws. So that's a difference that needs to be attacked, and I don't know how you do it. I think Draymond Green has to be another big part of what they're doing because of the fact he can get to the free throw line. He's a physical presence. Looney played great. He did great the last time, but that's not what they needed. Who is going to be able to offset and push Anthony Davis out? I think the Warriors have to be able to continue to play, get to the free throw line, but also offset Anthony Davis. We talked about it. If Anthony Davis has a good series, it's going to be over for the Warriors. If he doesn't, and we get the second version of Anthony Davis that we normally see in game 2, he plays great one game, plays bad the next game. Almost like what we saw with Philadelphia. Philadelphia go out there, they get a big win on the road, and then they get smacked in the face in the second game. So that will be the part. How are you going to offset Anthony Davis, but most importantly, get to the rim, get some calls near the rim?
Yeah, no, that's a good point because, last that game against Sacramento, Game 7 against Sacramento, we just take Steph, for instance, because we talked about Steph being a great ball handler. He can always find a way to get into the paint, to penetrate, and then be able to get shots at the rim. He had 12 shots in the paint in Game 7 versus Sacramento, and he was 8 of 12. He was phenomenal. He only had 6 of those in Game 1 versus the Lakers, and he was 2 of 6. So it is really about Anthony Davis and his presence in the paint. I mean, he has just been able to deter a ton of shots, and then he had 4 blocks on top of that, but I don't know if they keep up with it. I'm sure there's some advanced stat about it, Patrick. You might know because you watch a lot of NBA, but the number of shots he just deters,
Yeah.
it's through the roof.
Yeah, I mean,
No question.
you can look into what the percentage is when he's the prime defender, when he's a help defender. They have numbers for all that. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But I think that this also goes into, for the Warriors, if you just take the emotion out of the game, and, the Warriors are one of those teams you want them to be having fun because that death lineup they used to have that would run away with games, it did work in that in the fourth quarter. They were able to come back and make a run. Part of that was they pulled Vanderbilt out of that game, and the Lakers were taking some bad shots. But you just have to take smarter shots. They took so many bad shots in that game, so many shots where Klay Thompson or Jordan Poole's feet weren't set.
Right.
They weren't direct face in the basket. Just stuff they know, and for whatever reason thought they were too good to need to do that. And they lowered their percentage of makes by exponentially throughout the game to just keep putting up these bad shots. So you need to fix that first and foremost. And this is a big game for the Warriors because if you don't fix that problem, and we know there's already beef between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green.
Oh, man.
And both those guys had problems in that game. And we saw in the first round where Draymond Green tried to say something to Jordan Poole and he walked past him and Steph tried to stop him to be like, hey, man, you need to talk to Draymond. He was like, no.
Right.
We saw that in the first round where Jordan Poole basically ignored the veterans. You could see this team start to unravel a little bit if they go down 0-2 at home and Jordan Poole is trying to play Steph ball again in this game. And I think that's where Steve Kerr would have to start benching him and start playing a Kuminga more or start playing somebody else more in that lineup just to counteract that, yeah, Jordan Poole's going to hit some, but we can't have him missing big shots for us because those are just it all evens out.
Yeah.
You know, like
self-inflicted
like,
damage.
and especially when you're open 5 feet closer.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to take the shot in rhythm. And all you got to do is dribble up and shoot in rhythm. And you're going to shoot 60% of those threes, Jordan Poole would. Instead, you're sideways, lofting balls at the basket, which is a 20% shot.
Yeah.
It was just silly to see that so much throughout the game because we can look at it and Anthony Davis had a great game. LeBron didn't.
Right.
He had a good game.
Right.
I mean, but in LeBron standards, it's not what they need to have. So if you say we've got LeBron where he's not 100% playing at his top game, we need to stand off of him and make him a shooter because he's just been shooting really bad in these playoffs. And, you know, that is – you can't stand too far off him because if he starts hitting, the series is over.
Right.
Like there is that like push shove where you have to go.
Yeah, but
look, if we let him get off, it's over.
Make him prove it.
But you got to win this game.
Yeah,
because if you're going 0-2 on the road to LA, and now your team is starting to get beat up, and Draymond Green realizes, man, Anthony Davis is owning me. Like I'm not doing anything in this, and LeBron is owning me. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
it's a big game for the Warriors. I think they come back and bounce back and win because they're just that good of a team, and they know all the things I just said.
I would lag off of LeBron, honestly, and let him shoot.
Yeah.
I love LeBron. You guys know that, but LeBron has been miserable from three-point range, and he hasn't been great from like that, you know, from mid-range either. He's been at his best when he's getting to the rim in the paint. And I would lag off of him and let him shoot. If he gets hot, all right, we change our approach, we adjust.
Quickly.
But let LeBron shoot, and he'll try your best to neutralize AD, get him the hell out of the paint. How you do that? That's what you got to figure out. That was the first game in the history of the Warriors organization that they lost when they hit more than 15. They hit 15 plus more three-pointers than their opponent.
Right. And that's the crazy thing about it. Because they didn't get to the free throw line. I think that's going to be the biggest impact. Because think about it, man. You sit there, and yes, you're shooting all those threes, you're knocking them down, but every time, what they give up? 60 points in the paint? I mean, that was one of the things, too. Something like
54.
that. 54. Okay.
54.
So you're giving up all those points in the paint, and you're shooting all these threes, but you're not getting those cheap points either. The free throw line points. You lost by 5 points, and that should have been the conversation. Attack. And one of the texters said it perfectly. Andrew Wiggins needs to attack the rim as well. He keeps shooting all these threes standing in a corner. When you're one of the longest, most athletic guys on the squad, you have to go in there and put pressure on the – foul out some of those guys.
Draw some fouls.
Draw some fouls and foul those guys out. Spend most of your time at the free throw line, because what that also does – it slows the game down where you can catch your breath. If you're not shooting free throws and you're running up and down the floor the entire time, especially after Steph had to go for 50 to get you even into that first game, I know he likes to run around and he's very consistent and he's in great shape, but even late in the season, you tired. Mm-hmm. And you have to get some help from the ancillary players. You said it. LeBron's not even having a great run right now from the three-point land, and he's still shooting it. Let him keep shooting it, but make sure that AD doesn't get extra shots.
Yeah, man, if you get AD in foul trouble, they don't – I know they have other big men on this roster, and some of them went to Texas, but Darvin Ham does not feel good playing them.
Not at all. Not at all.
So if Anthony Davis is out, they don't really have a bunch of – Rui Hachimura is basically your next big man up.
And he's been very quiet.
But I'm just saying, Looney's going to have 45 rebounds if Anthony Davis gets in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting every shot because Kevin Looney, he's a great offensive rebounder. And if you take out basically the only other big who's bumping with him,
yeah.
So you have to attack early to see if you can even get him in foul trouble. If you don't get calls, then yeah, you're going to have to kind of go back.
You'll adjust to it, yeah.
But you have to, early in this game, make a point. Hey, let's at least, if we can get him one early, he has to play more careful.
Yep.
And if we get him too early, it's our game.
Right.
And you won't know that if you don't at least try to be aggressive and penetrate. I'm with that. They have to remedy that issue of the 6 free throws. They were 5 of 6 free throws, and you're right, Hard. They shoot. Yeah, man, you shoot 8 more free throws, you win the game.
You win the game.
that is a solid glass half empty, a glass half full. They were 5 of 6.
Yeah.
They shot 6 free throws.
No, I was critiquing a young man's game tape last year, and I said, man, you make a lot of plays when you're around the football. You need to be around the football more.
Thank you. That's
You're
it.
great when you're around the football.
Yeah.
Get around the football more.
Spend more time around the football.
So get to the basket more. If I'm with the Warriors, so the Warriors, you rarely see a game where the Warriors have 30 assists. They took 14 more shots than the Lakers, had 15 more three-pointers made than the Lakers, had fewer than 10 turnovers, still lost the game.
Unbelievable.
It is one of the kind of most improbable losses that the Warriors have had.
Strange.
Yeah, but I think honestly, their adjustment is going to be. I think Steph's going to play a little bit more, and I think Klay's going to play a little bit more, and they're going to try to force, to Patrick's point, try to get AD in foul trouble early on, and try to see, because AD played 44 minutes.
Right, and that's the other part.
He played 44 minutes.
How healthy is he going to be? How refreshed is he going to be? One of the things you're going to pay attention to, watch their shots early in the game. Watch Anthony Davis's shots. See if they have their legs, and that will tell you everything that you need to know.
And we'll say they at least had a few games off before this. Warriors had a 7-game series that rolled straight into this. There's a good chance that somewhere in there, one or two of these guys really start to show the effects of not having a break here in the playoffs. But they're going to be fine if they do not play any physical basketball in the next couple of days. You just lose, but you have plenty of energy if you're like, oh, no, we're just going to shoot threes and do that all day.
Yeah, and that way you do that all day, you're going to be down 0-2. Because
it's gonna be quick.
I can't say that, because they can do what they did last game, but they still have to supplement with some of their scoring with either getting to the free throw line or getting to the basket or getting in the paint. That's just what they can go 21 of 53. They can do that again.
No doubt.
But they still have to have some presence offensively in the paint, because the downside of that is that basically AD dominates the paint.
Right.
And you have what happened just now happens where you only had 6 free throws in that game. One thing to think about, though, because Steph played 38 minutes, Klay played 37 minutes. I think Wiggins was at 34 and Draymond was at 34. I think all of their minutes increased, probably not by a lot, but like maybe just a minute or two.
Right.
And if you can get AD, LeBron played 40 minutes. And that's a lot of minutes for a big man and for old guys, yeah. And I'm sure they're going to be fine. But I think if you're Steve Kerr, you want them to play a minute or two less, and you want your guys to play a minute or two more, your main guys, your main stars, because the truth is that's the margin for error in this game. I mean, you were right there after that 14-0 run in the fourth quarter. You were right there, and then turns out end up losing by 5. So I think we're still going to end up having like a heavyweight fight, pretty much going back and forth between these two teams. Keep in mind, though, getting back to the foul discrepancy between these two teams, how lopsided it was. The Lakers, in the regular season, were the 3rd best team in the NBA at drawing fouls.
Yeah.
And they fouled the least often of any team in the NBA. On the flip side of that, the Warriors, they got to the line less often than 28 teams, so not a ton. And they fouled their opponents more than average. So it did track with what the kind of identity of both of these teams have been during the regular season. I just think it was extreme in game 1, and the Warriors need to make sure it's not that drastic in game 2.
No doubt. It's gonna be big to see how they do this, because here's the biggest question for me: Steve Kerr, you're a champion. Darvin Ham is not. What is the chess match that we're going to be playing here? You should be able to adjust to this quickly and make sure that you are the one that is leading this team. Yes, you got Steph Curry. Yes, you have Klay Thompson. You got Draymond. Guys that are very intelligent basketball players. But how are you going to adjust to this?
Darvin Ham did win a championship with the Bucks. He was an assistant, but he didn't win a championship with the Bucks. I'll give him that.
Okay,
I'll give him
there
it.
you go. All right,
Yeah,
there you
we'll
go.
give him a little bit.
I'll
We'll
give him
a little bit.
Like
Little
Steve Kerr's still a
something.
better coach.
Yeah.
I will just say
Something.
I will give a little respect to Darvin Ham.
Right.
There's one thing about great coaching, is, especially in the playoffs, it's going to win you a game, maybe a game or two in the playoffs. Most of the time, it's just superstar talent, your star stepping up in clutch time, making big plays. But we've seen, hell, go look at the Miami Heat, all right? Because it's Jimmy Butler pretty much. But then, man, between Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra, you got a great coach and you got a star talent. Miami is overachieving, we all agree. And a lot of that's because of great coaching.
Exactly.
So I'm with you on Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
If
he's gotta step it up.
If he's going to be responsible for a win here or there, maybe game 2 is it, where they get that schematic advantage
And
or that
it's-
tactical advantage from Steve Kerr.
And it's a home game, and you already know how your team performs on the road. It's not a good look for your team. So you can't, like you said, you can't be down 0-2 and then going to L.A. and thinking you're finna go over there and win 2 of those games.
They've won 2 games in the playoffs on the road, right?
Yeah,
I think-
but I'm not.
I know, it's crazy.
But
they only won 11 all season, regular
young,
season. They
young
won 2.
team that don't know how to
Yeah.
win versus LeBron and his savant mind
That's fair.
on the road, that's saying, okay, if we can knock these dudes out, we can rest a little bit. Because we still believe, I mean, we'll get into it, but I believe that Denver's about to put the Suns out of their misery, especially if Chris Paul's not going to be there. So you sit there and you're looking at that, and it was like, okay, they're going to rest. We need to get them to a position to rest. Now, all of that hinges on what happens tonight and then going on the road, because, like we said, their track record on the road this season, just this season, has not been that
No, I'm with
great.
you. They lose, LeBron smells blood.
Exactly.
And you don't want LeBron smelling
Yeah,
blood.
and again,
At all.
there's a lot of internal strife if you drop 2
That's right.
games that you go, oh no, we make mistakes in those games. The Sacramento games, you can go, man, they're young and hard. We're coming back. We're a better team. This is one where you just sit there and go, I don't even, man, like we're
I don't know
costing.
if
We how we missing all these threes and we're taking dumb shots and we're playing and you're playing bad and you're playing
Yup,
bad and then
yup.
fingers start pointing.
They
and
already
that-
ready to fight over there on that bench.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, you would hope that Steph could be the calming influence there, but I agree with you guys. I think there would be a lot of tension with that group.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Wiggins has only been back with the team for a couple weeks now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd mostly be from Draymond, because Draymond's going to have some angst for somebody, and it's likely going to be directed at Poole.
And isn't Draymond trying to get a contract too? Isn't this the year that Draymond
So
is
he has
He's an
a-
option, right?
He has a player
Yeah.
option after this year. However, he wants to make more than what that player option is.
Yeah.
So we don't know how he is going to
Hey,
approach
So
this
you still got that
negotiation.
too.
But
and
so
you know
does-
he's gonna talk
but
about it on his
I think he's
podcast.
making around 25 next season, but he wants to be making more than that. So I don't know if he's going to just accept that he's not going to get paid that. We heard Dylan Brooks wants to make more than 25, wants to make around 25.
Yeah.
So all these guys want to make more money. The question is, when they realize that that is not an option, are they willing to take less? Are they going to Stephon Marbury it over to Shanghai?
Okay, so let me ask you this:
Wow.
if you had to pay one of them,
No,
who would it be? If you,
Draymond.
no, yeah. Okay.
pay somebody to be Draymond. I'm not paying Dylan Brooks. that
Even
kind
with
of money.
Dylan,
I
even with
wouldn't wanna
Dylan
pay
Brooks
either one
being
of them.
younger,
Dylan
I'm
Brooks
saying
is-
you have to. You have to pay
Dylan
one
Brooks
of
is
them.
not. I mean, he wants to be a 3-and-D guy, but he don't have no 3, so he's
He-
just a D.
yeah.
No,
And then the D
he
ain't-
doesn't want to be a 3-and-D guy. He wants to be more than a 3-and-D
Oh,
guy.
that's right. Sorry.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but he is a 3-and-D guy, but
Without a
he's not
three.
a 3, so he's just a D guy.
And he wants to be more than that. He wants to be a handle the ball every play. I can be the franchise player guy.
It's talent dysmorphia. Like, I don't understand how he believes
I would just take the loss, sir.
that he will. What do you look at when you watch film of yourself?
Exactly.
Do you believe that you could be a guy that handles the rock more? You want to be the focal point of an offense? That's crazy.
And be real with yourself.
You should be trying to be a 3-and-D guy. Like, that should be
Yes.
your
Yeah.
goal.
No,
and
he
then
want-
you accomplish that, then you can be something else.
He
But
wants to be
Yeah.
a triple-double guy.
Yep.
dude, like I said, he 3-and-D guy without the 3.
Yeah.
So he's just a D. And then he talks so much trash. Now he's just a D bag.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's where the D is
That's
right
what the D
now.
is. The
It's a
D stands for something
bag.
else. Yeah,
Exactly.
unfortunately. All right, what you got coming up on Hard Knock Life?
Well, there's more to the story that I gave you yesterday about the Alabama baseball team.
I saw that.
And I'm going to continue it because there was more information that was leaked today, and it does seem like it gets worse every single day, and somebody had to pay the price.
It wasn't going to get better.
It was not going to get better.
All right, we'll talk about that. Yeah, I saw that. This is going to be good stuff. If you want to tune in for Hard Knock Life, coming up next right here on Ball Don't Lie on Wonderful 9 the Horn.
Welcome back to the new theme Thursday edition of Ball Don't Lie. And the theme was, Cinco de Mayo tomorrow. So everybody go out there and have a good time, but be responsible. Don't go out there and get too crazy. It's your boy Hardball Hard. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Hard. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show, so continue to hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And if you were with us yesterday, we got a chance to talk about a situation involving gambling at the college level. Now, we all know that we have a lot of fun when we talk about MyBookie and do all the different things, but we never really talk about college baseball gambling and how lines are affected and where people go to do all this stuff. We're normally talking about football, basketball, and we always tell you do that responsibly as well. Well, somebody that's not doing it responsibly seems to be the University of Alabama's head baseball coach, Brad Bohannon. There's a story that came out yesterday talking about the fact of there was some suspicious activity involving the Alabama baseball team during one of its games against LSU. LSU, we talked about that yesterday, how is the number one team in the country, and they've been it for at least 12 weeks this year. I got a chance to call their games earlier this year at the Round Rock Classic, Carbach Round Rock Classic. And they're a very talented team, but they've lost some games. They're not going through undefeated. Well, there was some suspicious activity involving a game against Alabama 6 days ago. And with that being said, the baseball coach, Brad Bohannon, was fired today. He got let go today by Alabama. And we were talking about it and trying to figure out what'd you say, Rod? There has to be some degrees of separation depending on how this wager was made. For those that don't know, also, Ohio's Casino Control Commission shut down all bets that were involving Alabama. You could not bet on Alabama baseball at all. And everybody was kind of curious about it, and, you got to let stories kind of play out and see what happens. There was no comment. Everything was, they're just off our books until further investigation. Well, during this further investigation, it was it was noticed on sportsbook surveillance video, indicated that a person who placed the bets was communicating with said head coach, Bohannon, at the time of the bets.
Man.
Multiple sources have said this now in direct contact with ESPN. The school announced by athletic director Greg Byrne that they initiated the termination process for Bohannon and, among other things, violating the standards, the duties, and responsibility expected of the university employees. Does that sound familiar to you? Certain things in the contract that was written there for those reasons, that if you're not doing things that are exemplary for the university, you are no longer going to be employed by the university. So Alabama's head coach now will be Jason Jackson. He will serve as the interim baseball coach. The funny thing about it is, as you start looking at it, this is what happened. And there's a backstory to this particular pitcher as well. Alabama's scheduled starting pitcher that day, his name was Luke Holman. He was scratched before the LSU game due to tightness in his back and was replaced by sophomore Hagan Banks, who hadn't started a game since March 16th. You throw him in there, you get a late scratch, somebody goes over there and realizes that this is happening. Coach makes a phone call to his buddy and say, hey, my starting pitcher is not going to be in the game, and we're using a guy that hadn't pitched since March 16th. Hence, people start paying attention to it. Lines change. You get the bet in before they make the decision, and then all of a sudden, here you go.
Unbelievable.
It is an unbelievable story, and this is something that we have talked about amongst ourselves numerous times about how is this going to be governed, where you can bet pretty much anywhere at any time, and if you have direct contact like this, and you've got insider information, that will lead you to these situations right here. And it's something that I know you want to look at the overall thought process of it all, where it's going, how's it going to play out, where are we going to make this happen, that happen. We're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds. I mean, sometimes 26 now because you got all these years left.
those
You know what I'm
COVID
saying?
years,
Yeah,
everything.
you got all this other stuff. But when the coaching staff is the one that is involved, the coaching staff, I told you this, one of the worst sayings that I ever had that I was so pissed off about was when a coach told me I have the power of the pen. That was the thing that always drove me nuts because it's like you are controlling my future.
They are.
Well, technically, he was controlling his pocketbook because of the insider information that is being told. Now, this is a crazy deal because now I'm sure that the integrity of the baseball game that is involved, you're going to start looking at how of the different people are involved, different situations, scratches, and different things that are happening. Now it's going to put more of a spotlight on the gambling when it comes to college baseball. As I said yesterday, this is not something that I look at and try to wager on just because it's so difficult to figure out. But there's a lot of people that do it. There's a lot of people that have fun doing it. But when you get involved with this situation, it changes the way people viewed the game. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said Wednesday that the conference is also investigating the situation. We are, to quote him, we are aware of the reports related in the suspicion of the wagering at Alabama baseball games. We will continue to monitor available information and any regulatory activity. Now, remember, Alabama also had the scandal with the basketball team.
Yes, they did.
With the death of people shooting at people away from the field. I mean, away from the basketball court. So now Alabama is dealing with a whole nother situation. And maybe that's why Nick Saban made his comments about, man, I ought to kick the person off the team. We're not going to no tolerance and all this other stuff. Maybe he knows some things that were going on and looking at the other side of the program because now his program will be under investigation as well.
That is, I mean, it's so crazy.
It's going to be a movie.
It is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Because I wonder how deep this goes, how long this has been going on. I mean, obviously, they just red flagged it. And when it was at least red flagged to the point where it became public knowledge,
Right.
They
must have been monitoring this for a while.
That's why I would like to know when they started monitoring the situation and what are the patterns that were identified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because oh man, how much was he making?
He was the head coach was making $275,000 a year.
Do we know how much these bets were?
No, we do not.
It's not worth it, no matter what he's talking about. It ain't worth it, no matter how much money he was betting or making. Not worth it. I'm just curious in his mind how he justified risking it all.
Right.
Pretty much.
You just risked it all for yourself to be. I mean, let's be honest. Is it truly worth it to wager? He may not have even been the one wagering it.
Yeah, we don't even know. Yeah.
He may not have been the one wagering it, and now you are telling someone something. Does this person have something over you? Was this somebody that is holding some information that might be detrimental to you, and boom, here you are. Yep. Somebody just said it. I heard it was a $150,000 bet on a college baseball game.
Yeah, that would red flag some.
Yeah, especially if it's not something that you normally wager.
Yeah, who bets that much money on college baseball? I know some people betting a lot of money on a lot of sports, but come on, man.
And it's normally football, though.
That's true, 150 G. Come on.
Well,
that's excessive.
And right before the game.
Right.
Like, not
when the scratch happened.
Yeah, not a week before where they're like, well, that's crazy bet, but I guess he thinks they're going to, like, he just wants to watch this game.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it, the kid who got scratched from the start, I played against his father in
Get outta
Double A.
How do you always
I
everyone?
want to say Harsh knows every damn
I'm telling
body,
you,
man.
and there was we just had an
He
anniversary
knows
of the
every damn
fact
body.
of when I faced his dad when I was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Double A team. We played against them, and his dad was the reason why I flipped back over to the right side to back because I was switch hitting during that time. And I literally just told this story the other day, and me and the buddies that played on that team were talking about his son and realized that his son was pitching for Alabama. And then this story comes out, and I'm like, they just scratched the kids that I know his father. Just so happened that this happened. I'm on a text thread with his dad just the other day.
I thought you were going to say that the guy who took the bet was from the 254.
No. Hey, trust me, because I would have been a part of that thing right there, dog. He doesn't have any 254 ties except for me.
What is
yeah.
the Alabama athletic director?
Oh man, Greg Byrne he's going through it right now.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah,
did you even mention
rough.
that the transfer they had coming in that they had to pull out and take back his offer after he got arrested?
He got arrested. That's right. It just happened too.
There was a transfer that was coming to the basketball team that had some gun charges or something on him,
Yes.
and they had to be like, no, you're not coming now.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't come now, brother.
Yeah.
We got a lot of baggage. We cannot
We got a little
afford-
heat on us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. They got
He got that heat on
They
him.
got that heat on you now. That is, I cannot believe that that athletic program has that Nate Oates. Well, it's not the Nate Oates story, but of course the story about the Alabama basketball
Yep.
program being connected to a murder, and
Yep.
then of course now this story you're talking about. Direct connection. Now, maybe just
Direct.
one degree of separation, essentially, from the actual Bama baseball program and allegations of them being involved in gambling on games.
Yeah. It's deep, man. Obviously. And it's probably going to get a lot deeper as well because of
This might be the text of the day, gentlemen. Might be the text of the day here. All right, texter.
That
This is
is-
good stuff
that is
right
good
here.
right there.
How about this? I love it. They said Harsh is the Forrest Gump of sports radio. I agree. Dude just stumbles up in all the time.
Life is like a box of blue chews.
Seriously, because we were just talking about. We were talking about the running back Zach Charbonnet.
Charbonnet, yeah.
that was drafted.
Yeah.
You ran like, oh yeah, I know his dad. He was like,
his
what
dad,
are you doing?
yeah, his dad was my teammate.
Like, we just
Yeah.
ran.
Matter of fact, he was on the team with that dude that hit the home run again. He was on the team with that dude that hit the home run against. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, that is so true, Texter.
Yeah.
That is a great point, Texter.
Oh,
That is
my
a great
goodness.
point. You really, I don't know how hard he ends up doing. I would say he knows every damn body, but the Forrest Gump of sports radio. That is
funny. That is a great
fantastic.
text.
That is
a great text.
That is fantastic. All right, but no, I'm with you. I think every league, I'm talking about professional,
Yep,
and
yep.
of course at the college level, they have to be having these conversations behind the scenes that we want all of the the financial windfall that's coming from mainstream sports gambling and it becoming more of a common thing for all really all Americans, really,
Yep.
just to become more comfortable gambling on sports. That's why it's become legal in a lot of states around the country, and it is bringing a ton of local revenue, tax revenue, and the NFL knows it's going to bring a ton of revenue for the NFL and every sport, by the way. Even Adam Silver's talked about that. The downside is, more of these stories are coming.
Oh, for sure.
More of these stories are coming. The question now, that's why the NFL has decided anything having to do with gambling, we're coming down with you. We're bringing the hammer down on you.
Right.
All right, we are going to try to deter as much of this gambling and them being comfortable with
Yep.
gambling as possible because we know our players are gambling. We just want to put the fear of God in them that while they're playing, they should just decide, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Unless you know all of the rules. Remember the Detroit Lions guys got in trouble for just gambling at the facility. They weren't even gambling on the NFL. Just gambling at the facility.
Yeah.
There are lots of rules against it, and the NFL does have software tracking all these players, and they have arrangements, if you will, with all of these different agencies and these different booking agencies, I guess they are,
Yep,
bookies,
yep.
essentially all of these gambling sites. So they'll know when there are players who are gambling. But there will be more of these stories. The NFL
It's
now,
not over.
We're already starting to see it pick up
Yep.
a little frequency in the NFL.
Yep.
Just the last couple of years, we've had a couple of these.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen more often. It just is.
It is happening quicker than we think.
So
And the fact that they keep building these casinos and these sports books in sporting arenas.
exactly.
Like, okay, I guarantee you're sitting there going like this and you're like looking at it the entire time and saying, boom, here you go. I can go in there and place a bet ASAP. That's crazy.
It is crazy. All right, we are aware, ladies
Texters.
and gentlemen,
Yeah.
texters of the news. We'll come back and discuss that. I don't think it's just to talk about it right before the break and then he'll hit the break. I don't think it's the
Yeah.
right time to do it. It is some sad, unfortunate news, and we will have that discussion and talk about that on the other side. So,
Yep.
good Harsh Knock Life there. You don't want to ruin the Harsh Knock Life with that news either, because that was good stuff.
Yep.
We'll come back and discuss on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We all know Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Iron Workers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape this great city since 1935, and you see the labors of their love all over this great city in iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends over at Iron Workers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So a lot of you out there may be tired of your current career path, and maybe you're thinking about a change in your career. You want something new. You want something fresh. If you're looking for a change in your career, an exciting new career path, you can become a member of Iron Workers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Iron Workers Local Union 482 are hiring 3,000 people. That's right, 3,000 people for a huge project, so you can become a member of Iron Workers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. Maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying at ironworkers482.org. Just simply go to ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It's time for Off the Record, but this is very unfortunate, sad off the record. So, according to several sources, got it from TMZ as well, and we have obviously been in communication with some folks behind the scenes too about this. Lance Blanks, lifetime Longhorn Lance Blanks, Texas basketball, played Texas basketball here, was a legend, and also was a general manager, front office executive in the NBA for the Suns, was also a scout for the San Antonio Spurs for a really long time. The report is from TMZ that he has passed away, that he has died. A spokesman for the Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office in Texas tells TMZ that Blanks passed away on Wednesday. A cause and manner of death are not yet known. It is said that obviously the results of the coroner's report are still pending of the exam. So still waiting to see what the cause of death is. Right now we don't know that. So obviously our thoughts and prayers are with his family and with those who are close to Lance Blanks. A lot of people in this community very close to him as well. So heartfelt condolences. Because that is devastating news. He was only 56 years old.
Yeah, that's the part of it right there where people are used to seeing Lance on the sideline on LHN games. You got a chance to see him on ESPN after his playing career and after his front office stuff, and just he seemed to be a beacon of life, and always had something kind to say to all the people that he was always around. It is a very, very sad day on the 40 acres because Lance was a larger-than-life figure. And if you go back and you know the videos have been posted here recently of an interview that he did with Andrew Jones when he was playing, and Andrew had such a great game. The way that they were, really pumping each other up during that time was something that was always there. And you look at this moment right now and the stories that are coming out and the way that he went about it. Lifetime Longhorn, Eric Metcalf, a good friend of ours, and he's been on the show with us multiple times. He posted on his Twitter page, everybody hug your family and friends and tell them that you love them. We lost a dear friend and a brother. People are going through things that you never even know about. And it's real easy to be wrapped up in your world and doing your things. But sometimes it just takes a hello or how you doing to check on people and just make sure that they're doing well.
Not trying to reduce him, obviously, to just his accomplishments on the court. Obviously, he was a lot more than that, and he meant a lot more than that to people in this community. But his hoops career started at the University of Virginia in 1985, transferred to Texas after 2 seasons, and then became a legend on the 40 acres. Had 2 years here in 1988 and 89, averaged 20 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, was inducted into the Texas Hall of Honor. In the early 2000s. Then it went on to be selected in the first round of the 1990 NBA draft by the Detroit Pistons and played there for several seasons for Detroit and Minnesota before going into scouting and then eventually into the front office of several NFL teams, including the general manager job of the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
It's it's devastating news. I mean, we were getting some rumblings about this, and I was just hoping. You always, when you hear something like that behind the scenes, you're hoping, man, I hope everybody's wrong. I hope it's just rumor and conjecture, and I hope that was a misunderstanding. Turns out this was not. So our thoughts and prayers with the family, because 56, man. Yeah. That's young. I know.
Real young.
I'm an old man, so I consider that young, and it's taken from his loved ones way too soon.
Yeah.
So. Sorry about that news. I know that's some very gloomy news to drop on everybody like that, but that is part of the job. So unfortunate news, and sorry for all the Longhorn fans out there who knew. I didn't know Lance Blanks that well. I'd met him a couple of times, but I know some people who are really close to him.
Absolutely.
So I'm deeply sorry for your loss, no question. Okay, we'll come back. We'll try to get back on track here. We'll get into some we'll talk Texas football next. We'll go behind the Burn Orange curtain. We have some sound from Sark we'll get to. We have some rankings from On3 about wide receiver rankings, also early college football lines. We'll dive deep behind the Burn Orange curtain when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about our friends over at Apple Leasing. As a matter of fact, we're hanging out with Scott Crossett today of Apple Leasing, and we're just talking about the business, and he said something that I really love. He said, you know what? When I'm selling cars, I'm just trying to make friends. Figure if he can make friends while selling cars, then the business side will take care of itself. And wouldn't you rather buy a car from a friend? And I'll let my man Harsh tell you about that later on. But that's what Apple Leasing is all about. That's why they've been doing business here in Austin for almost 40 years, because they do it the right way. They put their customers first and foremost, and customer satisfaction is their top priority. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on any car that you want. So if you don't know what type of car you want, maybe you just know how big the car is, maybe you just know that you want a sedan or you want an SUV, they can help you out. They can help you do the shopping, all right? They can do all the price shopping, help you get the best price, help you get the best bang for your buck on the car that you want. Apple Leasing has a simple interest, easy lease that makes things simple, and it gives you a lot more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, that fits your budget best. And my man Harge knows all about that.
Man, Rod is not kidding you. Every time we get a chance to talk about them, we get excited because not only are you leasing from a company, you're leasing from friends. And when you go over to Apple Leasing, you do become friends. Like he said, they're always talking about just leasing cars and making friends, and we all want to be part of the friends. I loved it so much that I became part of their family too. I've gotten 3 cars from them, and I'm going to continue to lease from them. They make every job so easy. You can go over there and learn about the easy lease, whether you want to pay or you want to make sure that it fits your budget. That's the most important part of it. They're going to do everything they can to find that make and model, whether it's exotic or it's something simple. They will take care of you. Make sure you reach out to them. Go over to appleleasing.com, and you can go over there and look and try to find what fits your budget. They will work with you and make sure that you got it. If you want to make sure that the lease isn't so long and you can have it in a short period of time, they want to make sure that they want to keep you as a customer. That's what I expect for you to do when you go over to Apple Leasing. Make sure you go to appleleasing.com today. That is appleleasing.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday. The theme is Cinco de Mayo. I do not know the name of this song, but I love this song. And it is a classic.
He just said the name of the song.
What is it?
Oye, ¿cómo va?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure I could have guessed that. All right, that's probably the most prominent words in the song.
Yes, it is the first lyrics of the song.
But I love the song, and it's in a ton of movies.
Yes.
The movie that comes to mind when I think about it, honestly, is Man on Fire.
Yeah.
There's a great scene in Man on
There
Fire.
is a great scene on that one.
When
Yes.
they're playing this,
That
Denzel
is
does
a
his
great
thing.
one.
Oh,
Yes.
it's a great scene. Fantastic
Oh,
scene.
speaking of Denzel, did you get a chance to see the trailer for Man
I
on?
did see the trailer
What'd I tell you?
for Equalizer 3. Is it 3,
Yeah,
right?
3.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm going. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's one where
I ain't even got to worry about it.
wifey ain't gonna go with me, and I'm going by myself.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go
Post
straight.
up.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
going. I've done it a few times. Like I'm going by myself to go. So I used to go all the time in the league.
Yeah.
I think in the league I went to the movies with myself almost every week.
That's your moment away from
Well, I didn't-
everybody.
yeah,
and you get to
I didn't
chill,
do it.
man.
Like I didn't feel. To
Yeah.
me, it wasn't no big deal. I
Right.
went there, but I realize now.
I ain't afraid to go to the movie by myself either.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. I know it looks weird, and I know people are like, man, he's a loser. He must not, must have no friends or whatever. I know, but
I don't want nobody next to me when I'm watching this. You know
Sometimes
what
I
I'm
want to
saying? Just
go
like
see a
eating
movie.
wings.
Yeah, and I don't need nobody to go with me. I'll just go see the movie. So there you go. But shout out to my man Patrick DJing a new theme Thursday. Also shout out to Patrick because he pulled a lot of great sound of Steve Sarkisian's appearance his interview with 105 through the Fan. It's a radio station, so not really appearing. He was on the phone, but good stuff there. We're gonna play some of that audio in Raj Round the Day. Oh, guys. And Patrick pulled it for me, so shout out to Patrick, the real MVP. We have audio of the Atlanta Falcons general manager
Come on, man.
talking about Bijan Robinson and how they're going to use him. And guys, when I play this audio for you, you're going to think that basically I use some AI chatbot to construct this audio because the GM for the Atlanta Falcons is basically devising a way to use Bijan or to weaponize Bijan in the same way that we have been talking about it for the last, year or so.
Right.
And using a lot of the same terms that Sark won't use, but they will use. They used it. Positionless football. He used it. He dropped the term. I heard him drop the term.
Basically, the translation is he
dropped the
will
term.
be a first-round draft pick,
dropped it, baby.
top 5 draft pick
dropped
in fantasy football.
Yeah, honestly, yes, great point.
Yup.
This audio will make you want to draft Bijan first overall.
Exactly,
And
because
remember-
that's been the conversation.
Yeah, no, he should go first overall. And Pro Football Focus had him ranked number 1 overall. When you hear the GM of the Atlanta Falcons talk about their plan for Bijan,
Speak on it.
you're going to say, all right, yeah, he needs to be drafted number 1 overall. Number 1.
Speak on it.
It's great. It's from Mike Florio or Pro Football Talk. He had an interview with him, but we pulled it. I'm like an audio scavenger. So audio vulture, man. We'll go get some of that stuff, and my man Patrick pulled it for us. So we'll do that in Raj Round the Day and talk about Bijan. All right. This is sad news, and there's some breaking news that we also need to get to because the Bucks, man.
Yeah.
The Bucks made a move.
Which is
They
crazy to
fired
think
their
about.
head coach.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I can't believe that.
What's his
That-
name?
Budenholzer?
Budenholzer?
Mike Budenholzer, yeah,
Yeah.
Coach Bud.
Coach Bud is gone.
Yeah.
Former San Antonio Spurs
Assistant
assistant.
forever. He started
Yes.
with the Spurs as like a tape editor.
Yes.
Like he was in the
He's
video
like-
libraries
he's like
where he started with the
Spoelstra.
Spurs.
He's like Spoelstra.
Yeah.
Spoelstra was started
And-
like that too.
and worked his way all the way up, gets his head coaching gig, wins a NBA championship.
Mm-hmm.
2 years later, he's gone.
Unbelievable.
And I always say this about the NBA.
Unbelievable.
I used to say that, in the NBA, you're winning at obviously making sure you win enough games is just as important as keeping your stars happy. Because we've seen coaches win games, stars aren't happy, and then they get fired. Because if the star doesn't like you, you're not long for that job because it's a superstar league. Man, the superstars like him. Seems like the team. We didn't get any complaints about the team not liking Budenholzer. Just seems like he was exposed and got
I
out
don't
coached.
know. I think we might have seen
Oh, with the
in
players?
the
Okay.
post game that Giannis was not thrilled with how his coaching was, and now this is the part where Giannis has to be the man to go tell Bud what to do. Now he may have said, "Hey, we should be doubling," and Coach Bud says, "I know better. Do what I say,"
And he did
and that's
say-
why he gets fired.
And he did say, I should have guarded Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
But he said, I listened to the coach and I deferred to the
So
coach.
this is the question: is if Giannis expects the coach to do everything that he thinks and do everything right, and he doesn't vocalize it, then he's going to fire a coach every year and never win another championship. because that's just not how coaching. That's not how it works. But if it was that he was telling Coach Bud, "Hey, I need to be guarding Jimmy. I want Jimmy," and Bud said, "No,
I got this. I know."
He goes, "I know what I'm doing. You don't do it." Then yeah, I can get why Giannis would go
Especially that's your star. That's the MVP.
and Giannis would go to management and go and Giannis it will be a free agent again when he is still an MVP caliber player. He will get another year. He has talked in the past that he may go somewhere else in his career because you know what? If someone gives me a better offer,
Yeah, that's why my theory was always been keep the star happy first.
Yeah.
And then you got to make sure you win games. But you ain't going to win games if the star ain't happy. And if the star ain't happy, you can win games and still be fired. But to your point, I didn't think about that. I remember those comments by Giannis after, and he was very polite. He was very respectful, but it was critical of the coaching.
Very much so.
and this is again, I mentioned a minute ago, but Darvin Ham was on that coaching staff.
Yes, he was.
And there is points you lose assistants, and sometimes assistants were the guys that worked really heavily with one of the players.
Oh, no doubt.
Darvin Ham, being a power forward in his career, could have been the guy that was kind of Giannis's conduit to the coaching. And when he went away, the relationship changed, and it just soured in that year. All of those things are possible. Or it could just be that Milwaukee and ownership was done with him. They got embarrassed in the first round. We got to do something. We can't afford to get rid of players. We don't want to do that. We got to do something because everybody wants our heads. We're going to get rid of you. Now the question is, who are they going to get?
That is the big
because
question. Who you bringing
Quinn
in?
Snyder was one of the best names. He's hired.
Yep.
Ime Udoka was one of the best names. He is hired.
Off the market, baby.
There's less and less names that are sure thing. Hey man, this is a guy who's going to be ready to take us to a championship. I don't know who you go for.
They wouldn't have done this unless they had someone in mind. Like, this is a
Oh,
draft.
it's Milwaukee.
It's
they would have done
Milwaukee.
this.
They would have
They
done
would have
it.
done this. Yeah, Milwaukee's
That's
not.
a terrible
Well,
move.
here's
You
the
don't have
thing.
somebody in mind. If you have somebody in mind, then fine, do your research. But until you figure that out, so now they're gonna have an open search to try to figure out.
Well,
who
I
the
mean,
coach
They
is.
probably do have some names
I
in
definitely
mind.
got to
They
have. I refuse to believe they had no one in mind.
No,
when
they
they
have
made
people
this
in
move.
mind. I'm saying I don't know if you have anybody that has agreed to go to Milwaukee.
Well, that's true because I wouldn't agree. Nobody agrees to go to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
you have to be kind of
Now-
nudged along.
Well, I mean, it's like, do you want to coach an all-time great player in Giannis?
Yes.
And you go, oh man, I'd love to do that. And they go, okay, now here's the issue. He wants this. He wants this. He wants this. Do you want to come coach here? And they go, oh, I can't. Like if that's,
Well, that's every star is gonna want. I mean,
Yeah,
every
exactly,
superstar
but-
in the league's got a list like that.
but that's the question: is who do they get to come in? It feels like they're a team that would want a guy who's a more tough-nosed coach.
Here's a Nick Nurse suggestion
like-
on the
I like
Space
Nick
that.
Text
Nurse,
line.
yeah.
I like that.
mean,
I know.
I don't know if that's really an upgrade.
As I
I feel
say-
like that's kind of a lateral move. It's a different guy.
But maybe it's
a
because of
different
what you,
voice, too.
Yes, but you brought up with Giannis. Maybe Giannis is just tired of the voice. Like, man, I'm just
Yep.
tired of this guy.
Yeah,
You
I know, but I
Mm.
feel like you're gonna get tired of Nick Nurse real quick because it's gonna be a very similar voice.
It's the NBA though. You fire another guy in 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. That seems.
Someone says Becky Hammond.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I mean,
I like that.
Ooh, yeah,
I like
that'd
that.
be nice.
You think Giannis would pay attention? Here's another part of this. In 2020, they were talking about firing him at that time. They were talking about
Yeah.
firing him at the time. They ended up because they lost to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back, they win the championship, and then he signed a 3-year extension after the 2021 season. So they were supposed to play him through 24 and 25. So this is going to be an interesting look, and I think it all comes back down to the fact that Giannis was tired of him. It has to be.
yeah, and I mean, like, and this
In
is
the
I
NBA,
don't want to
that's how it
I don't
goes.
want to kick a guy when he's down, and I get Coach Bud is a different guy than when I was a child and went to a camp, and he was one of the speakers at the camp, and he was the worst speaker at the camp, like just no charisma whatsoever at that time.
Yeah, it
And I'm sure
happens.
he's worked on it and gotten better at his public speaking.
That stuff matters.
but
though, at the
it
head
was
coach
something
job.
where you were just like, as a kid, I was like, good Lord, he's doing it was all very manufactured, the speech. So I don't know if that could be part of it, where it's just like, you know what,
Scripted.
I don't like this. I'm done with this voice. Nick Nurse is a good name, but I don't know if I think you'd want to go with somebody a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nick Nurse and Coach Bud are kind of cut from the same cloth.
That's good stuff. But now that's a good point you brought up, though, Patrick. As I said, when I see coach firings that are a surprise in the NBA, I usually go back to the relationship with the star. What's the relationship with? Because that's usually what it is. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Those small comments, what seemed to be insignificant small comments, but they were still critical of the coaching in the playoffs, and they did lose in the first round. After being number one seed, I think the front office, or maybe there was a conversation behind the scenes that they were able to dive deeper into those comments, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely Giannis, and I'm not saying Giannis is like he's got to be fired, but their relationship is frayed somehow.
Yeah,
Or
and
it
I
is
mean
not
when
on
you
the
have
sound.
your
Yeah.
when you have your meetings, your exit meetings with the team, and
Yeah.
they go, "What do you think?" and you go, "Well, I don't know about this," and the coaching this and the
Exactly.
coaching that,
Yeah.
and then you interview Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday goes, "Well, I don't know, but the coaching
Yeah.
this
And they
and the
look,
coaching
they go
that."
down and say, you know, all the guys brought up coaching, right?
Yeah,
Every
no.
guy mentioned coaching.
And then they do the exit interview with Mike Button. He goes, "The players."
They got to listen to me more. And it's like, no, good stuff there. All right, that's breaking news. Also, some other very sad news is that it was reported that lifetime Longhorn Lance Blanks passed away. It was reported that yesterday, it was the report that he passed away, and they do not know the cause of death just yet. The medical exam is not back, so they don't know the cause of death, but they do know at 56 years old, lifetime Longhorn Lance Blanks passed away. So our thoughts and prayers with him and his family, of course, and with his loved ones, because that is devastating news. I believe he had 2 daughters as well. I think he was expecting a grandchild, I believe, as well. So we know this is very difficult news for a lot of people in this community that were really close to him, and San Antonio too, because he was a scout there for a long time and ended up working in the front office, a general manager for the Suns. Very accomplished in his career. Obviously, as a basketball player here at Texas, became a legend on the 40 acres as a basketball player, drafted in the first round by the Detroit Pistons. Had a really good NBA career, and then went into the front scouting and then into the front office, and now, unfortunately, at 56 years old, he is no longer with us. He has passed away. So sorry to bring that news. I know that's really sad news for a lot of folks out there and maybe devastated by it. So we'll get you some details if we find out any about him, but I don't expect any details until they get the cause of death, which will probably be a little bit later on in the week.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this Steve Sarkisian sound, Harge, because we played this earlier in the show, but Sark went on 105.3 The Fan. Actually, I think Jane Slater, lifetime Longhorn, shout out to her. I believe she's the one that was able to convince Sark to come on. She probably talked to John Bianco and got to convince John Bianco to get Sark to come on. But either way, it worked out really well. So Sark
seems to be very convincing.
She's good at her job, too.
Yes, she is.
And she worked at Longhorn Network for a long time, and now she does a great job covering the Dallas Cowboys. So first question, though, was about DeMarvion Overshown, the new Dallas Cowboy. Here is Sark being asked about what DeMarvion Overshown brings to this Cowboy squad.
Yeah, I think this is an awesome fit for Demo. Obviously, I worked for Dan Quinn for 2 years in Atlanta, and I know the premise of that defense, and it's about running and hitting. It's about having players that are versatile, that can fly to the football, but have a high football IQ, recognizing situations as they come. And I think that all those things epitomize Demo. He can run. He will strike you when he gets there. He's very versatile. Obviously, a guy who played on the roof when he first got to Texas, came down, played off the edge, in space. We moved him into the box, and then we actually put him on the edge and let him rush the passer this past year. So I think there's a level of versatility there. Really high football IQ guy. I just think it's an awesome fit schematically and personality-wise.
That's Sark talking about DeMarvion Overshown. And recently we just heard Michael Parsons is here in Austin training at the Collective to become a full-time defensive end, trying to gain some weight. I think he's at 252, wants to get around 255 so that he can be at full-time defensive end, which I love the positionless football aspect of his skill set, but if he can be the best pass rusher in the NFL at defensive end, which he has the ability to be, then put him out there, because there are 2 ways to win a Super Bowl: elite quarterback play, elite pass rush. And the Cowboys are closer to the latter than they are to the former. Right? So put him out there, let him be elite pass rusher. But for DeMarvion Overshown, they still, I believe, want to cultivate their positionless football ideology on defense with Dan Quinn, and DeMarvion Overshown is the perfect candidate to cultivate that philosophy with, because this is a guy that is a spread baby and has that versatility in his skill set. So good news for DeMarvion Overshown. It's a good week for him. Not only getting drafted by the Cowboys in the 3rd round, but then Michael Parsons, one of the guys ahead of you, is switching positions officially. Now, he only played, I think, 20 snaps between weeks 11 and 18 at off-ball linebacker last season, so he was progressing to becoming a full-time defensive anyway. But now there's only Damone Clark and Leighton Vander Esch ahead of DeMarvion Overshown, really. They like Harper. They got some other options there. But the truth is, DeMarvion Overshown can really shoot up the depth chart here if he can prove himself early on.
Yeah, this is an exciting move for DeMarvin, and we've talked about this. We've seen this guy. We've seen the way he's gone about his business, and each year he's gotten better and better. One of the things that he needed to make sure of, stayed healthy, did stay healthy, went out there, learned a new position, and now he's coming downhill. And I love that when Coach Sark said he was on the roof.
He's
playing that safety position,
Raise
but
the
it
roof.
also shows this versatility. It shows that he can be taught to play other positions. I think he would love to be able to be that J-Ron Curse type of player. They're similar in build. They have that type of striking as well. Donovan Wilson strikes. You know, he comes downhill. So he's going to learn from some really talented guys and may be able to fill a void at multiple positions, which is why I believe that he will be playing really, really soon. Whether it's on special teams, obviously with the position change, as you were talking about with Micah, we don't know how much Micah's going to be changing those positions, but if he is going to the defensive end position, you can just plug in DeMarvin because he can move from side to side and got that real good lateral movement.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I like your Cam Chancellor comp you've been making, too. I think you're right on the money there. Let's get to some more sound. Sark was also asked about Arch Manning and his first impression for all the kind of national pundits during the spring game. Not a lot of people were complimentary of Arch's performance in the spring game. Here's what Sark thought about it.
No, hey, he's on the right trajectory that he should be on. He's a true freshman in college. He really should still be in high school. Just finished his first semester on the 40 acres. And so there is a definite transition there. There's a transition to college life. There's a transition to the scheme that he's hasn't been accustomed to. There's a transition to the speed of the game and how it goes. So there were a lot of really good moments that Arch had throughout the spring. And there was a couple tough days. And, you know, I think he and I could both agree that wasn't his best day, but we weren't great around him either. But I think there's a lot of room to grow for him this summer. There's going to be a lot of room for him to grow in fall camp. But ultimately, it's a great room that we have with Quinn Ewers, with Malik Murphy, with Arch. That's what you got to have in college football. You got to have a room that is pulling for one another, that is willing to develop at their own pace, whatever they need. But I'm super pumped that Arch Manning's on our team, and he's going to be a great Longhorn before it's all said and done.
Yeah, only national members of the media brought up Quinn Ewers and versus Arch Manning. No Longhorn who was informed thought that was even a storyline at all. The truth is, Arch Manning represents the first world problems now Texas has at quarterback. The luxury of being able to redshirt a Manning because you got Quinn Ewers returning as a starter. You got Malik Murphy who's proven himself as a capable backup. And then you got a veteran Charles Wright to be your emergency third-string quarterback. That's how stacked that Sark has got that quarterback room.
Yeah.
That's a first world problem now.
That's
what are we going to do with
great
Arch Manning? We might redshirt him. He might have to play. Who knows?
And the thing about it is, Arch is not the problem. Arch
ain't
is just in there chilling. He's adjusting to his college life, having fun. He's dropping his ID everywhere. You know, the dude is just doing things because it's not put on his shoulders to come in and save the program. The national media wanted it to be a story, as you said, Rod, but we knew better. We knew the deal. We knew that this kid did not have to come in and be that guy. Learn, get stronger, adjust to the college life, and be able to have fun, man. That's what it's all about.
I think that's what he wants. I think that's what his family wants too.
Exactly.
Remember, he's not even
Peyton
making
didn't even start when he got there.
He's not even making NIL money. Remember, they don't even have him focused on NIL. His parents and his family, they don't want him to have an NIL deal until he's a starting quarterback.
Yep.
So, and Sark has admitted they paid nothing to get Arch Manning here. So he's here for the love of the brand, which makes me love him even more. Another man that loves the Texas brand is Quinn Ewers. Here's Sark's thoughts about how Quinn Ewers has looked so far this spring in his development.
Yeah, I think there's a real conscious effort when Quinn came back, really going into the bowl game. I thought he actually played really well in the bowl game. But coming out of the new year, I just think there was a new sense of I don't want to call it commitment because he's always been into it, but just a new sense of this is his team. And I think it started in our winter conditioning program. He was definitely, just working, engaged, leading, doing all the right things. Then it goes to, getting his hair cut, trimming the beard, doing those types of things. Then it went to spring practice where I just thought he was in such command. He was very comfortable with what we're doing. There was a sense of urgency that I liked. But you could feel a guy who was in year 2, right, in our program and in our system, and much, minimized the mistakes, but yet capitalized on the big playability and the arm talent that he has. So in the end, it's that comfort level of year 2 and it feeling like his team, feeling like his offense. And that's what the quarterback's got to have, because at the end of the day, the quarterback's ultimate job is to instill belief in the entire organization and in his teammates and in the coaches that he's that guy and that he's going to get it done. And that's why it's the most important position in sports. And I think that Quinn is really started to do that in 2023.
Yeah, I'm glad that Sark has noticed that renewed sense. It's just, I think that renewed sense of purpose is leadership for him. He knows he's got to be that guy. You're at the natural leadership position. Everybody's looking to you. No Bijan, no Rojo. That's you.
Yeah. That's how you're supposed to do
your
it.
Team now.
That's right. This is where it is, and we got a chance to see a little bit of that at the Alamo Bowl when he was on the sideline, getting in people's faces, telling everybody to get it going, trying to get everybody fired up to win that ball game. So I thought we saw our first step at that during that time. So, and you said it perfectly as the quarterback, whether you want to be the leader or not, because remember, that was the conversation we were having about Hudson Card. You got to be able to vocalize your leadership. I know you want to go out there and work and have people follow you that way, but as a quarterback, you're calling the plays. You're getting everybody in the right position. You're the one organizing the workouts. You're supposed to be that vocal leader. Whether you like it or not, that is who you are, and you have to walk that way.
And if you're going to be a vocal leader, that sometimes it causes conflict. You have to be confrontational.
Yes.
Because I'm going to
to
hold my
check
teammates accountable.
That's
I got
right.
to check you.
Yep.
And if I'm going to check you, I got to be balling.
Exactly.
Because if I check you and I'm not balling, the first thing you're going to come back to me is like,
handle your own business.
Yeah, you can't come at me, man. Look yourself in the mirror. Take care of your business.
Yep.
So that's the beauty of that leadership, that hierarchy. If you are balling, you can become a leader and go, man, I need you to step it up. I need you to play better because I know you better than that. And they'll go, yeah, Robbie, you know what? I got to do that.
bro.
I got to do that.
I got you.
Yeah, I got it. No doubt.
Let's go get it.
I love the transformation of Quinn Ewers so far this offseason. Sark also asked about other spring standouts so far this spring. Here's what Steve Sarkisian had to say.
Well, I think at the end, I know there's microscope on just the spring game. I look at the totality of 15 practices. I really like kind of our offensive skill positions at this point. I think about our receiver core with Xavier Worthy, Jordan Winnington, the addition of A.D. Mitchell, getting Isaiah Nair healthy, the addition of a couple freshmen here in Jonte Cook and DeAndre Moore. You mix that in with that tight end J.T. Sanders. I feel like we've got a lot of weapons now, which I haven't never felt that comfortable before. I think defensively we got a lot of versatility in the back end, but Byron Murphy out of DeSoto has just been an absolute stud for 15 practices on the defensive line. So that's been a real positive. And then a newcomer who, just because everybody we're talking about that, Anthony Hill out of Denton Ryan. Has just been, you can tell, you can see it. So we got to find the best way to put him in the best position to have success.
Yeah, there you go. And I think he keeps bringing up Byron Murphy and Anthony Hill when he's asked about best pass rushers on the team and standouts. So you're going to see a young Anthony Hill out there. He's probably going to be doing what DeMarvin Overshown did a lot of and rushing off that edge in that specific position. And he brought up the skill positions. We all talked about the wide receivers after that spring game. He brought them up too, along with J.T. Sanders. That's going to be the identity of this offense, which means you need Quinn Ewers playing at a really, really high level. Last piece of audio here.
And not forget that he's going to wear 0.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
True that.
There he is.
Okay, last piece of audio here. I love lifetime Longhorn Jane Slater for this. She asked a question that we all want to know the answer to, and we won't know the answer to this question, honestly, until, 3-4 years from now, potentially. Texas may be in the SEC before we figure out the answer to this. But Sark is hoping to answer this question that Longhorn fans have been pondering for the last decade or so.
Real quick, is Texas back?
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say this. I really like our football team, and I like our team because of the talent. I like our team because of the continuity of our staff for 3 years now. I like our team because of the culture we built. So I'm excited about our season. What does back mean? I don't know, but I do like our football team, and I think that we got a chance to be a championship football team this fall. So we'll see.
All right, there you go. Sark, I'm glad he didn't fall for that. I'm
He's
glad
not falling
Sark
for the
didn't
banana
fall
in the
for it, man. He's
tailpipe,
like, nah,
man.
man, I can't answer that. Y'all know the last time we had a Lifetime Longhorn tell us that Texas was back, and by the way, we love this Lifetime Longhorn. He was wrong.
Yes.
I ain't gonna say he lied. He was wrong. He thought we were back too. Sam thought we was back. He's like, we're back, and turns out we was.
Yeah, a little something.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
We was
Sam.
hopeful.
We still love you, man. You know
Yeah.
what, Sam? It felt good at the moment.
It did.
How good did that feel?
was
Didn't it
sta-
feel good?
I was standing right there.
It did.
I think I got the video. I'm standing right there, and I'm like, we are.
You know who wasn't happy about that moment? Go look at Tom Herman's face.
He was like,
because he realized, like, damn it, we're not back quite yet. I got some recruiting I need to
I
do.
got some stuff. I done already ran people off, man. You can't say that. I done ran people off.
Yeah, that was the one you had to look at the guy next to you and you're smiling so big, and then they're like, well, and you're like, shut up.
Yeah.
Because give me 24 hours.
Yes.
24 hours.
Let me think it over first. Let me digest it first.
Tomorrow at this time, you can tell me I'm an idiot. But
Yeah.
give me 24 hours.
I'm glad
Yeah.
Sark didn't fall for it because that would have went viral. And you know that's what James
Oh,
Slater
my
on there. He go
goodness.
viral. Sark says if he said anything other than what he said,
Oh,
they'd be
yeah.
like, Sark said Texas was back. He'd be like, you know what? I think we might be on our way. Viral. Sark said Texas back. Done deal.
Yep.
All right, we come back. We got breaking news for Texas basketball. Apparently, there
yeah.
are some new members of the Texas basketball squad. We'll get into that. And I have audio. We have audio of the GM of the Atlanta Falcons talking about how they're going to weaponize Bijan Robinson. And he uses one of my favorite terms. It's like that Pee Wee Herman show, the word of the day. You guys know what it is. Positionless football. We'll talk about it when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Just really quickly before we get to Rod's rant of the day, there is some breaking news for Texas basketball. You do have some breaking news because there are new commitments for Texas basketball. Transfer from UTEP, Zarek Onyema. If I got it wrong, please let me know, guys. 6'8" transfer from UTEP. Also, the Longhorns got another commitment. They announced it via Instagram from UT Arlington. Transfer Chendall Weaver. Chendall Weaver, who was the reigning WAC Freshman of the Year. So both of those new commitments for the Longhorns. So shout out to Rodney Terry working hard behind the scenes. All right, let's get to somebody else working hard behind the scenes. Terry Fontenot, the GM of the Atlanta Falcons, ended up drafting Bijan Robinson, 8th overall. And guys, I told you this is going to be a dream scenario for Bijan because he's landing in the perfect offense with Arthur Smith, who runs the football more than any other head coach in the NFL. Hell, even when they're down, they run the football more than any team in the NFL. So he is going to the spot where they want a workhorse running back, and they're going to use Bijan till they use him up. So fantasy nerds, be aware of that. But here's another piece of audio here that I think will also get you excited if you're a fantasy nerd or if you're just a Bijan fan like most of us. So Mike Florio had the GM of the Atlanta Falcons, Terry Fontenot, on, and he asked Bijan a few questions. The first question was, how high was Bijan on your overall board? Here's Mike Florio with Terry Fontenot, the GM of the Atlanta Falcons.
How high was Bijan Robinson on your list of names going into round one?
Well, you're right. You do want to have 8 names. You don't sleep good if you don't have 8 names because you know that it can go either way. And we've kind of talked about it. That was one of the more unpredictable drafts going into it. Not knowing what's going to happen in front of you. I think everybody knew who they expect the number 1 pick to be. Outside of that, the next picks, we just didn't know. We loved Bijan throughout the whole process. And there were some other really good players that came off the board before him. We like those players a lot, but we love Bijan and the man he is, the person he is, the player he is, the impact he's going to make. So without saying exactly where he was in our stack, we were pumped to take him off the board at 8.
All right, didn't really give you exactly what you want. I want to see if they had him in the top 5, but they had him really high on their board. Obviously, he was also asked about drafting a running back, the value of the running back position, drafting a running back that high in the draft. Here is Terry Fontenot.
What was it that made you comfortable with making a running back, regardless of who the running back is, any running back, a top 10 draft pick?
Well, and I think for us, you got to take the position out of it and talk about the player. Because you might say, take a premium position, take a corner, take a defensive end. Okay, tell me who the corner is. Tell me who the defensive end is. That's what matters. It's who the particular player is. When you talk about a Bijan Robinson, the impact, he's an impact offensive player. He's a playmaker. You look at last year with Drake London, we're excited to take him off the board not because he was a receiver, but because of the impact we believe he's going to make, as well as Kyle Pitts 2 years ago. So we believe we're taking impact players and we're taking playmakers, home run hitters, touchdown makers, guys that can really impact our total team. So we never focus on a particular position. You think of positionless football, you just want to take good players that fit the character traits that you're looking for that are going to make you a better team.
Yes. I love it. Word of the day, baby. Positionless football and Bijan Robinson.
They go hand in hand.
They do go hand in hand. I'm glad that the Falcons are being progressive and they're forward thinking about Bijan Robinson. Here's the last piece of audio is Mike Florio asking about, since basically piggybacking on that point about positionless football and asking him how much they're going to move Bijan around the formation.
There's been a lot of talk about Bijan Robinson not just playing in the backfield, but spending time in the slot like he did at Texas last year. Is the vision to move him all over the place when he's on the field?
Yeah, I think he can do a lot of different things. And that's one of the things that when you put on the tape and wherever he is on the field, he makes impacts. If he's at receiver, if he's in the slot, you're going to worry about him. You better make sure you have a plan for him. Coordinators have to make sure they have a plan for him, or if he's in the backfield. But when you just go through our players on our roster, we have other players that are the same way. You don't know where they're going to line up and exactly what they're going to do. So that's the fun part about it.
Okay, and so two things that, remember toward the end, he starts hinting, we got other players like that, which they do. Cordarrelle Patterson, who played wide receiver and is now a running back. Remember, freaky Kyle Pitts is still on that team, probably the freakiest tight end, skill set-wise, in the NFL, and that was the first draft pick for Arthur Smith when he got there.
Yep.
So he started thinking about positionless football when he first got there. Now, guys, when you combine freaky Pitts, as Bucky likes to call him, all right, and Bijan Robinson, a impact offensive playmaker, as he calls him.
Bijan.
All right, exactly, freaky Bijan, and Cordarrelle Patterson, you already got several pieces of a positionless football machine, your own version of it. And remember, I always talk about how the 49ers, they are probably the front runner. They are not more than the front runner. They probably are the team that majors in positionless football more so than any other team. Shannon has kind of built this Frankenstein monster of multiplicity, multifunctional, multidimensional, just amalgamation of malleable machinery, right? You got Juszczyk, and you got Kittle, and you got Deebo Samuel. Now he's got Christian McCaffrey. But if you look at the pieces that Arthur Smith is putting together, guys, I think he is putting together his own version of a positionless football machine. And I know Shano kind of leads the NFL in this specific philosophy. He is kind of the leading mind. I think there are others in a copycat league that are trying to copy this, and they want their own Deebo Samuel. Remember, we played the audio of Dan Patrick saying he talked to an NFL executive. Maybe it was the Atlanta Falcons.
Maybe.
Who said they want Bijan to be their Deebo Samuel. Like, that's what they envision. That he basically is their version of Deebo Samuel. And if that is the case, and you know that teams across the NFL, they do want to copy that. It's just really hard to find those types of players. Here's more evidence that the NFL, a copycat league, is trying to copy that positionless football philosophy, and they're trying to find their own Deebo Samuel. The Lions.
Yep.
There's several reports, and Ian Rappaport reported it as well, that the Lions and the Jets were both in trade discussions with the 49ers for Deebo Samuel. Ian Rappaport reported that they offered a first and a third on the Rich Eisen show for Deebo Samuel, and the 49ers rejected it. And then the Lions end up drafting a Jahmyr Gibbs. And then I saw a report also from Ian Rappaport that the Jets were also interested in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's not a coincidence that the two teams that were interested offered up draft capital to trade for Deebo Samuel because they want their own version of Deebo Samuel. Were also the two teams interested in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yep.
And the Lions overdrafted him. Why? They want Jahmyr Gibbs to be their Deebo Samuel. I think that's what they're going for. And by the way, their GM, Brad Holmes, was on the staff, or at least a part of the scouting department, and in the executive office of the Rams when they drafted Tavon Austin, who was another guy that was very positionless football-like when he came out, that you could move around the formation. I wouldn't doubt that the Jahmyr Gibbs pick for the Lions is them experimenting with trying to get their own version of this weaponized player. And he, by the way, all the stats kind of back up. He could be that guy. I'm not saying he is. But the NFL is a copycat league, and I think they're trying to copy that model. I think Arthur Smith's trying to copy it, and that's good news for Bijan. If Bijan's going to be that version of the weapon, that type of weapon for Arthur Smith.
Well, we've been talking about how we look at Bijan and how he was underutilized, some would say, here at the University of Texas. Mm-hmm. And the NFL is where we always thought that he would be able to cut his teeth a little bit more because they're going to use him in all types of variations. They're going to line him up in the slot. They're going to line him up out wide. They're going to put him in the offset back. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're going to do so many things. And you brought up Cordarrelle Patterson earlier. Yes, he's a different type of guy, but I think Bijan is what you like to say, the ultimate weapon. He can do so much more, not taking anything from what Cordarrelle has done because I think he's one of the coldest out there, but you never know what he is. At least you know that Bijan is a running back, and then Cordarrelle can do whatever he wants to do. So that's the other part for me. Bijan's going to be used in the proper vein, I guess you would say, to where he's going to get to use all of his skill sets.
Yeah. No, like I said, it gets me excited because all defenses are bound by rules, principles, a doctrine, if you will, that are necessary to maintain the structural integrity of the defense. and very clever, very gifted offensive minds, they are able to kind of decode and deduce and decipher what those rules are within the game, and still within that same game violate, disrupt, and defy and breach those rules and violate that structural integrity. And that nothing does that more than positionless football, because there's no way for a defense to match up with it when you're moving all the pieces constantly around, because defense is all about designations. You are designated to play this position, this responsibility, and you play that player. But if you're moving guys around, it's going to change up the defense responsibilities and obligations, which can totally discombobulate a defense. So I think Atlanta's going to be a fun team to watch for a lot of reasons, but also with the way they're going to.
And I'll throw in with the Patterson part when you compare it to Bijan, that when you have a guy who's a little bit bigger, more built to take a little bit more wear and tear, get some more carries in a game. When you have someone who can move around, but also don't have to necessarily limit to, we can use this toy 5 times before it starts to lose value, because all of a sudden he's going to get tired, he's going to get beat up, and we're not going to get the results out of it. A Bijan is built to do, we can do this 25 times in a game
right,
versus 5.
Yeah, that's a great point, too. And Cordero Patterson can kind of give him a break with some of the things they want to utilize him doing. So, anyway, giving you that sound from Terry Fontenot. Thanks, my man Patrick, for pulling that audio. We come back. We'll just go over. I want to get into this Big 12 story. We'll push that because that's kind of an evergreen topic. We'll get into the Longhorn commitments for the basketball team.
Oh, yeah.
Could be good news for Rodney Terry. We'll talk about it when we come back right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday, and the new theme of the day, Cinco de Mayo. Just celebrating it a little bit early. Thanks to my man Patrick, always DJing a new theme Thursday for us. We appreciate that. Also, shout out to, honestly, shout out to my phone. I'm going to give shout out to Steve Jobs. I just went on a rant about Bijan Robinson and how he's going to be, weaponized with the Falcons, played all that audio. As soon as I open my app, my Twitter app on the phone, like as soon as I open it, first thing I see is NFL Rookie Watch. I don't even follow these people, by the way. All right, it just came with my For You timeline. It says Bijan Robinson has reportedly spent the past several days training with Jamar Chase. Robinson and Chase have spent time refining routes and improving footwork. These training sessions are led by Gold Feet. It's a training facility or a training group, who has also worked with the likes of Odell Beckham Jr., Jalen Waddle, and Deebo Samuel. The Falcons' rookie running back is ready to be a threat as both runner and receiver. Good news and bad news. Good news is, hey, man, this is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is beautiful. Yeah. Bad news, our phones are definitely listening to us.
They are.
The algorithm works, whatever it is.
Yeah. What's really annoying is when you have like a really niche conversation once.
Yeah.
And then it keeps popping up in your feed for like a week, and you're like, dude, this was a joke?
Yeah.
This is a joke I told one time. And my phone's like, well, you're really into this now. No, man.
There's something like a mattress or something. Just random conversation.
Yeah.
Talking about a mattress or just talking about, I don't know, yard supplies, and then you see it on your timeline or something, and you go, that's kind of freaky. No, it ain't freaky. That's it. It's working as it's was designed to. That's the algorithm. All right. Anyway, let's get to Texas basketball. There is good news for Texas basketball. The men got 2 commitments today. Shout out to I got it from my man Jeff Howe, but I'm sure by now you have seen it other places. But Jeff Howe over at Horns 24/7 tweeted out about 30 minutes ago that in a post on his Instagram account, Chendall Weaver, of the UT Arlington transfer, committed to the University of Texas. He's the reigning WAC freshman of the year. And also about 30 to 40 minutes ago as well, he said, making a double dip for Texas men's basketball. The Longhorns have landed commitment from the 6'8 UTEP transfer, Zarek Onyema, I believe it is. Zarek. Maybe it's Zarek. It's Z-E apostrophe capital R-I-K. Zarek? You think it's Zarek? Zarek? Maybe Zarek.
Hopefully we'll hear his name called a lot this season.
Hopefully that will be the case, and I can get it right. I probably should text Craig Way. He probably would know how to pronounce it. What are your thoughts, Patrick? Any buzz from this?
I think this is good because you're starting to fill out your roster with some guys that you feel can come in and make an impact this season. You were very depleted, so you're going to need some guys to come in and fill out this roster. I think you probably still need to bring in one more guard, especially if Tyrese Hunter doesn't come back. But assuming Tyrese Hunter comes back, you'd still like to add one more guard probably in that rotation. It looks like forwards are pretty good. If you can get another big, another big 6'7" or 6'11", 7-foot guy, that would not hurt as well. But with Brock Cunningham and Shedrick and Dessou, you're probably okay in that area. At small forward, you could be there. Enamekwe will probably get some more run this year, returning player for Texas. So you're pretty okay in your front court. I think your back court could use another guy in there to be a everyday player, because I'm not sure if either one of these guys are going to play more than 5-10 minutes a game.
Okay. Just contributors.
But you need them because you're going to have foul trouble, you're going to have injuries, you're going to need guys to fill out the roster. So it's very good to bring in some guys that Rodney Terry seems high on. But yeah, I think you're still trying to aim for probably one more guard if you can, especially if you do not hear any word back from Tyrese Hunter.
Yeah, still waiting on that.
And I mean, we're still, Dylan Mitchell technically could come back. Ron Holland technically could come back. I'm holding the door open. I'm not expecting anything.
The door open or ajar?
Oh, I'm holding it open. I want him back. I'm holding it wide open. I'm not sure they're coming back.
You're holding it open, but you don't see them inside. You're like, hey guys, where y'all at?
Dad said he was just going to pick up some cigarettes. He'll be back.
We know how that goes
and
back in the
day.
Never
came back.
Seriously, these days you're going to pick up cigarettes. That's like two red alerts right there.
Exactly.
2 red flags right there.
Exactly.
All right, so Texas basketball getting 2 commitments. That's good news for Rodney Terry and company. All right, we come back. We'll get back into the NBA. There's big NBA news, breaking NBA news. Mike Budenholzer has has been let go by the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll get into that. Also preview Lakers and Warriors. And for those who have not heard the unfortunate news about lifetime Longhorn Lance Blanks passing away, we will revisit that as well. Very sad, unfortunate news. So we'll talk about those stories and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my good friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. You see this beautiful city that we all call home, Austin, Texas. Well, it's actually the aesthetic appeal of it is thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape this great city since 1935. As the city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. You see the labors of their love all over this great city in iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And right now, our good friends over at Ironworkers Local 482 are hiring 3,000 people for a huge project. It's a really big project, so they need your help. 3,000 people. So if you are right now a little frustrated with your career path and your career choices, and you want to change in your career, maybe a new job, something fresh, something that will challenge you, you can become a member of Ironworkers Local Union 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Ironworkers Local Union 482 are hiring 3,000 people, like I said, for a big project, and all you have to do to apply is go to ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. The new theme of New Theme Thursday is Cinco de Mayo. And Patrick's doing a great job. Also, I love this song, too. You played like 3 or 4 jams that I actually really enjoy, but La Bamba.
Where's Selena
Classic.
at, bro? I need Selena, man.
You know we got one song left,
Oh,
right?
yeah, there we go. Okay.
Hey, sometimes you gotta save the big punches. Gotta save the heavy hitters.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
You're going to end on a high note. I guarantee you that. La Bamba's pretty damn good,
It
though.
is.
That's
It
no
is.
doubt. Good stuff there. My man Patrick DJing a new theme Thursday for us. Also, you can be a part of the show. Specs Text Line's the best way to do it. You're the pulse of this thing, 512-337-3776. We'll get briefly to the commitments that the Longhorns just got via the transfer portal. We'll also get some NBA talk. We'll preview that matchup tonight between the Lakers and the Warriors. Big news in the NBA, breaking news. Mike Budenholzer relieved of his duties.
Yeah, he gone.
He gone. That's surprising. I guess nothing can be shocking in the NBA, but that is certainly surprising. We'll get to that news as well. And for those who have not heard, also that news that broke earlier today, and it was sad and really disappointing news is for Longhorn fans out there and for those who know Lance Blanks really well. Lance Blanks, it was reported yesterday, passed away.
Yeah.
In Dallas. It is not known yet what the cause of death is. That will be determined when the medical exam is done. But he's a legend on the 40 Acres for many different reasons. But, of course, in this community, a very valued and loved member of the community. And I know for Spurs fans out there, former scouting director for the Spurs, was a GM for the Suns for many years, was a first-round pick coming out of Texas, transferred from Virginia to Texas, and had a great career here on the 40 Acres. Then I went to the Detroit Pistons as a first-round pick, played for the Pistons for a few years, played in the NBA for a few years, and then ended up becoming a scout in the NBA and moving to the front office. And since has been, a great broadcaster as well. I mean, talking about a guy that was extremely talented and young, only 56 years old when he was taken from us. So he is survived by 2 daughters. So our thoughts and prayers are with them. And also, he is, a guy. I believe he was expecting a granddaughter. He was becoming a grandfather. I'm not sure his granddaughter, or grandson, but he was becoming a grandfather as well. So thoughts and prayers with that family, and of course with those who knew him very well, with all of his friends and loved ones, because we know this is really tough news to have to hear.
Yeah, it's not a good day on the 40 Acres, and I know a lot of people are trying to, they've been saying, oh, well, look at what happened afterwards. No, it's more about Lance. It's great that Texas basketball got picked up to transfers, but you can't replace someone like that and just make it part of it. I mean, he was somebody that every time you talk to him, anytime you were around him, he always had a kind word. He was always looking to empower everybody. And if you spent any time with him, whether it was 5 minutes or 5 days, you knew exactly that this guy's heart was always in the right place. I feel bad for the family. I'm sure we'll find out some more information as this goes on. Everything is still kind of fresh. But when you lose someone like that and somebody that always seemed like he was so full of life, it is a truly, truly sad day. People that have been on the 40 Acres with him, that were students with him, like an Eric Metcalf, he is really, really busted up about it. I got a chance to talk to TJ Ford earlier. He had posted something about the fact that they were just talking business the other day. Kirk Bowles had talked to him just the other day about some of the players and everything like that. So it is a very, very sad day on the 40 Acres.
So obviously there's no way to transition from tragic news like that. So
Yeah.
just going to try to do our best to move on.
I did come and watch him when he was part of BMW. I came to the 40. I came to the drum to watch him, Joey Wright, and Travis Mays get after it. Man, those dudes were fun to watch. That's when the Horns were really putting up points every single game because they were the running horns at that time. Tom Penders.
Was that the first Texas team that was like a really popular team among?
I would think so.
Right? I mean, maybe before that.
No, I mean during my time because
you're older than me. But,
I got a chance to watch it when they was really putting it on the floor and getting up and down, and it was fun to watch those guys score, man.
Yeah, no, it's really sad news, man. So I'm sure that in the coming days there'll be more information and details, and I'm sure for Texas they're going to have some type of event, some type of way to memorialize him in some way.
No doubt.
But we'll give you details about that too. But really sad news about Lance Blanks, man. I'm sorry for his friends and family, and our deepest heartfelt condolences.
No doubt.
Okay, let's move on to this Mike Budenholzer story, guys, because this is huge. Mike Budenholzer, the coach for the Bucks, has been fired. The NBA, I always say the NBA it's a strange league because it's a league that's run by the players. It's a player-run league pretty much. And oftentimes if a coach is fired and it's surprising in some way and a little shocking in some way, you got to go back and investigate that coach's relationship, whoever that star player, superstar player is on that team. Now, you got to win games too, but you can argue that as a coach in the NBA, your priority is also to keep your star happy, because if you win games and your star is unhappy, we've seen coaches fired as a result of that, and we've seen, coaches in the NBA who have, won games like this here, Mike Budenholzer, and then you look at the relationship with the player and they end up being fired, and maybe that's a little frayed. Patrick's theory, I think, might have hold some water in this if you're looking as to why Mike Budenholzer might have been fired. Not that they had a very, it wasn't a contentious relationship with the players, but maybe that performance, being exposed in the playoffs, losing in round one, and then hearing Giannis's comments in the postgame, maybe that gives you a clue as to what might have happened.
Yeah, that kind of puts you out there and say, Giannis was letting you know early that things were not good. He's a humble superstar, I would like to say, but in those situations, all he wants to do is win. And if he goes to, we were making fun the other day, no, draw the play up for Jimmy. Jimmy wants to play, put the play for Jimmy. That was the play. That was the play that Giannis was talking about. I should have been guarding Jimmy. I told him I wanted to guard Jimmy, and he's like, nah, this play's not for you to guard Jimmy. Well, you just messed up and you ended up losing your job. Should have let your superstar in that moment be the superstar and lead the team.
Keep your star happy.
Yep, keep them happy.
Happy wife, happy life. It applies to the NBA. Make sure your star is happy.
Yeah, because if not, you are looking for a new gig.
Because this is a guy that's had success. And I will say the NBA is one of the only leagues where they have, because the stars have all the leverage, this is one of the only leagues where you can have success as a coach, and the recent success does not necessarily guarantee you job security.
Right.
No, and I mean, when we went through, when they released the top 75 players of all time, and I think they did the top 15 coaches, and when you start to go through, you realize how many coaches just don't have that long of a career in the NBA. And you go, well, that guy was a good coach. And you're like, how long did he coach? 5 years, 6 years. And then he was done, and he was done forever.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then it's like they may go to be an executive or a scout. But a lot of these guys, they just, they get that one run. Coach Bud may be able to get another run just because he's comes from the pop tree and is well respected. It depends on how well he interviews.
Yep.
So if that was part of the problem is that he wasn't charismatic enough, and so the ownership and everything was okay moving on from him. But you just see a lot of guys, and it's if you lose a big series, the NBA really doesn't have a problem of moving on from coaches.
No,
especially not if you're not a Hall of Fame. All right, we're paying you $10 million a year. This is actually going to cost us $30 million to get rid of you. But you normally go, hey, man, you're making $6 million a year. Our 10th guy on our bench makes 12.
That's the culture of the NBA. You're right.
We can get rid of you before we can get rid of these players.
Yep.
It's going to cost us less to get rid of you. So we will move on and try and get somebody to work with us. It does make you wonder what's happening in Dallas, that they're going to stick with Jason Kidd in this world, but it's just point. The NBA has a culture of we can get rid of coaches. We've seen Toronto twice fire coach of the years in Dwayne Casey. They hired Nick Nurse, win a title, and now they have fired Nick Nurse.
Yeah, the last 4 NBA champions, only one of them has their current head coach, and that's the Warriors. That's Steve Kerr. Because Budenholzer's been fired, Frank Vogel fired.
Yeah,
and you just brought up Nick Nurse.
Yeah,
for the Raptors. That's pretty wild that a championship does not guarantee you job security.
No, I will tell you, there's a coach who's won a championship for his team.
Job security.
Greg Popovich has got 5. He's still got his job. He's still got his job.
5.
But isn't he the GM?
He's the president
Yeah,
of operations.
and he the one that would have to fire himself.
He's the
And-
president of basketball operations.
Yeah.
And didn't he hire himself?
Yes.
Like well,
he was a general manager when he
Yeah.
hired himself.
Yes.
Yeah, he fired
He did.
He fired the coach. He was like, "Man, I can do a better job."
Yes.
He
Yeah.
fired himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
I
it's
love Pop.
yeah, it is
And
funny.
they knew because that's when they got Tim Duncan, right? Or was it when they got David Robinson?
It was when it was the season before they got Tim halfway through the
So he
season.
knew.
He knew.
They were getting a good pick.
He
He didn't know
knew.
they were getting Tim. He knew they were getting a good pick.
He knew. He
Yeah.
was like, you know what? This
But-
will be the perfect time to launch my coaching career.
I was laughing. I saw somebody on Twitter getting mad because they were talking about Pop, and Pop saying there was some article about Pop talking about the next guy to get hired. And he was like, he doesn't get to pick his replacement. I'm like, hey, yeah, he does.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
the president.
No.
He's a made man. Oh yeah, you're right. Technically, he does.
Yes,
I'm
he
talking
is
about
actually the one
respect.
in charge of everything.
No,
No.
technically, he does. He gets to pick his own.
I get to pick what I like here.
That's a great, but it's amazing. But the NBA culture, it has been like that. You're talking about coach of the years, championships. That does not guarantee you job security in the NBA.
Yeah.
What guarantees you job security? You got to win. That's anyway. You got to produce, but you better make sure your star is happy and really likes you and is willing to fight for you. Like
Yeah.
it's willing to
Yep.
vouch
Yep.
for you. If that doesn't happen, if your star is not willing to vouch for you, you could argue your job security is in jeopardy
No
because at any time, whether you are losing and not meeting expectations or losing in the first round, whatever it may be, then in the NBA, coaches start thinking about, you know what, we don't need any one coach.
Yeah.
Even Eric Spoelstra, we now know is a great coach now. Remember the how they mocked him with LeBron? Because even LeBron's legacy, part of it is LeBron doesn't need a great coach.
Yeah.
LeBron basically kind of coach himself.
Yeah.
And we know now Spoelstra was a big part of that. But there is a just in the NBA a stigma or a perception that coaches they're not that important.
Yeah, no. If
They're
you
not that important.
if you lose, it's the coach's fault. If you win, then the players win it themselves. It's
Nah, you're right. You get no credit for the win.
No.
Yes, because Spoelstra didn't get a lot of. Spoelstra's got his street cred actually after the championships.
yeah. I
Which is
think,
weird.
and we can also put in Mike Budd probably wasn't the most vocal guy in the Giannis for MVP discussions, and we know Doc Rivers was very vocal for his guy. Mike
Yup.
Malone pretty
Yup.
vocal for Jokic being the MVP. And after Giannis wins his couple, I don't think Mike Budd had it in his radar that Giannis wanted him to campaign for him to be MVP.
Yeah.
So that may have been something that may have, I don't know, not rubbed the wrong way, but just be like, dude, I see Doc Rivers saying that his guy's the best player in the league, and I see Mike Malone saying his guy's the best player in the league, and then I come over here, and you're like, no, you're the best. Tell them.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point too, because we're just talking about how he relates to players or relates to his star player. Man, managing like personalities and making sure that you have that chemistry, that connectivity with the team is everything in the NBA, man.
Yeah.
That's the big news in the NBA. Mike Budenholzer. And have we talked about who we think should replace Mike Budenholzer? I'm assuming they had somebody in mind when they made this drastic of a move, unless there's another shoe that's going to drop and we go, oh, that's why they fired him real
Do you
quick.
think Jason Kidd would leave Dallas because he doesn't seem happy there? Would Jason Kidd leave and take the Milwaukee Bucks job?
Yeah, I mean, I think if that was the option, he definitely would. But I don't think that's an option.
You don't think they want him?
I mean,
no, I don't think.
he
I don't
was
think
there.
I know. I don't think
Him and
Milwaukee.
Darvin.
I don't think Milwaukee would necessarily jump on board, considering that his track record is not stellar.
Yeah.
It's not like you're hiring a NBA championship winning coach. You're hiring a coach whose stars have vastly underperformed in key games.
Yeah.
So I don't know if his coaching stock is high enough right now to go, yeah, we'll fire our coach, pay you in a buyout, or make a trade with the Mavericks to get your contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's got that level. I think Nick Nurse, which it seems like a lateral move to me, it just makes sense. He is an NBA champion head coach, so it is somebody you can look at. And
I am a fan of Nick Nurse. I thought
Defense.
Houston was going to get him.
I
Yeah, I
think
did
Houston.
too.
I thought Houston was going to get him.
I think Houston believes that they might have upgraded over Nick Nurse. Do you?
Oh,
no,
I
no,
think
I
so
did,
too,
right?
but
Okay,
I thought he was going to be the
yeah,
guy,
yeah.
though.
You
I
know,
thought,
because nobody saw Ime Udoka going to Houston.
No,
I don't
not
know
at
how they
all.
pulled that off. Still, I
Yeah.
think.
and maybe
the
Emme's like, dang it. I should have waited one more week.
Actually, yeah. Well,
Because I got Giannis. That's a young team right there.
that's good.
Yeah.
If they
I
don't
don't-
get Wembanyama, he'll definitely, I think, have that thought.
yeah, I don't know though if Milwaukee wants to. I don't know if they're
The baggage.
yeah.
Okay.
Just because those smaller market teams are not necessarily Houston. They don't care. They're like, no one's going to care. we're fine. If you win, we're fine. Milwaukee's a championship team already, so they're under more scrutiny. It's easier to coach on a bad team. If you turn around, it's a redemption than picking up a team that won a couple of years ago and then you win again. They're like, well, this guy just gets everything he wants.
Totally agree. 'Cause
Right.
you go to Houston right now, man. All you got to do is make the playoffs.
Yeah,
And you
and
go,
they're like, what a turnaround.
You got job security for a while.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
team couldn't. This team was. I mean, all you have to do is not look like that team looked last year, and it's a fast
And
improvement.
they can't
'Cause
look
that
that
was.
bad. Yeah.
They were a hard to watch team last year.
Yeah, they hit rock bottom, so they definitely will be better next season. But there you go. The NBA's big news is Mike Budenholzer. He is relieved of his duties as the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. So we'll be following that story to see who ends up getting that job. All right, gentlemen, real quick, let's do a little breakdown of this Warriors-Lakers series. You got Game 2 coming up tonight. And, yeah, I'm at the DVR this thing because if it's not a really good game, there's a chance that I could fall asleep on it. What's the start time? Is it 9 o'clock again?
I think
8
it's
tonight.
8 o'clock, man.
8
You'll be
o'clock
up,
tonight. It's your
dog.
only
You got
game
time,
tonight.
dog. You got
That's
time,
good.
man. Yeah,
Good
we
for
up.
them.
We up.
I know Bucky ain't gonna make it.
We
but
up,
I
dog.
hopefully that I try to make it, but yeah, 8 o'clock much better. And guys, for Game 2, I got to pick the Warriors because if the Warriors don't win this game,
It's good night, sweetheart. When it's
It's like,
time
yeah.
to go.
And we know playoffs are often about. It's about desperation. What team is most desperate in that moment? I love the Lakers, but the Lakers aren't feeling as desperate right now as the Warriors are. The Warriors are in desperation mode.
Yeah.
I think that pushes them to get the dub.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think they're just going to play better than they played, and they didn't play terribly, but I think they'll play better basketball, smarter basketball tonight. And man, Anthony Davis does not in today's game have too many stretches where he plays back-to-back games at that level.
Everybody's waiting on that. Everybody's assuming that he's gonna have basically a no-show game. Or
I
the
wouldn't
bad
say it's going to
game.
be a no-show game. I'm just saying I don't think he's going to have
30-23, 30 and 23.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have a
Yeah.
30-20.
30-23, 5 assists and 4 blocks.
Yeah,
again?
I don't think I think he'll still play okay and do it and be okay. But then LeBron has to step up. Then Hachimura and Reeves and Russell. Russell hasn't had a consistent
No.
run.
Yep.
So I don't know if they're going to be able to put together two with the Warriors ramping it up in this game.
I got the Warriors. Hard. You feel different, don't you?
I'm still riding with the Lakers, man.
You Lakers don't get 2-0.
I mean, my money says no, but I say that they cover. I think this game is going to come
What's the
down
line?
to the 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to come within that point again. Even if they do win that, it's going to be something that, as you watch this game, it's all about the legs. Are they going to be able to repeat? If Anthony Davis can repeat, it's going to be big for the Lakers. If he can't, then we'll see what happens moving forward because he hadn't put 2 games back-to-back together.
And if you what everybody's saying, stand off of LeBron and let him shoot threes.
Yeah.
Does he get it going?
Yep.
Because if he finds that rhythm and you step off him enough that he starts to be able to step into those threes and hit him in rhythm and just walk up and start shooting them on you, that changes the series.
Yep. Sure does.
I think Patrick's right about they just make some slight tweaks because they were close.
They were close.
real close.
If
That's what I'm
Jordan
saying.
Poole
Go to the
doesn't
basket.
if
Go
Jordan
to the
Poole
basket.
doesn't heat check every second shot, they win that game.
Yeah.
If Draymond Green just plays a little bit smarter of where he takes jump shots instead of really bad drives, or when he drives, he goes and creates contact. If
That's
he
the
just
big thing. Yep.
like those plays for Draymond where he played good enough defense, he's normally a good enough distributor, and I don't like to praise him, but then he would catch the ball, not want to shoot when he was wide open,
Yep.
drive in hard enough so it's contested, but not close enough to make contact, and then miss a layup. It was just everything you could do offensively wrong in a possession he would do. I don't think he does that again.
and they were still, like I said, right there.
And I think it's that deal that you will see Kuminga if they don't take better shots. Klay Thompson normally will bounce back and shoot a little bit better from 3 too. I think he'll start getting his feet set. He'll realize that he was just taking bad shots.
Steve Kerr brought up Kuminga actually.
Yeah.
In one of the interviews before the game, he's talked about that. He was asked about it too. So
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's not playing. And everybody
'Cause
goes,
he
you have
didn't
another
play.
really good player on the bench. And when you guys are playing stupid basketball, which is not like you, why don't you put in a guy and he'll go create contact in the post at least and maybe get a foul and maybe change the flow of the game.
if they double the amount of free throw attempts They win the game. In my opinion.
Easily.
They were 5 or 6. If they end up being 10 or 12, I think they win the game.
I think so too.
Even shoot to them because, like Pat said, it changes the whole complexion of the matchup
why you gotta
if you're
go.
getting to the lane more and creating
Yes.
contact.
Yes.
Which they just did not do at all. It was too much settling for them. They settled too much.
All the time.
I know they gave you the 3-pointer, but, if you want to take the 3-pointer, like Patrick says, make it a better shot, a better quality shot. Dribble, take one step up, make the extra pass, whatever it may be, and then get in the lane. Create contact. You got to get Anthony Davis in foul trouble.
Please.
He's going to be that aggressive in the lane?
Thank
Or at
you.
least
Try.
Get
At
at- yeah, go
least
at 'em.
try.
Yeah. If you don't try at all, you'll never know. But if you, I think they're gonna do it early on. Early on, they'll try because they get him in foul trouble early on. It changes everything. The Lakers cannot play their brand of basketball if you get AD in foul trouble. So you might have to attack him. He's gonna get his share of blocks,
No doubt.
and he's gonna deter a number of shots. But man, if you get one good foul on him early,
Yeah, let him know that I'm here for you.
that we coming at you.
Yeah, we coming.
Make him
That's
one
right.
quarter.
That's right.
So I think Warriors gonna win. I got Warriors in this. If they don't, though. Whew, that's scary. That's a scary conundrum for the Warriors to be down 0-2 to the Lakers. So I don't think that's going to
And
happen.
going to L.A.
And going to
They're
LA.
at home.
We forget about that. Yeah, it's West Coast still, but yeah, man. Lakers, trust me, they'll have a different type of a mojo when they're playing at the house. I think they'll be a little bit relaxed going into this game. Not totally relaxed, but they know they already did what you're supposed to do is win one on the road.
Yeah.
And when you do that, I think there'll be a little bit of an exhale by the Lakers. Like, all right, we won our one at home. All right, anything else is found money. It's just straight profit. If we win tonight, that's great. But we already did what we were supposed to do. And the desperation switched to the Warriors. They're going to come out desperate.
Quickly.
And you might see that look in Steph's eyes. Remember that look he had in Game 7 against Sacramento? You might get one of them looks. You get one of them looks.
He need it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they double him. Yeah, you can
They
look
do.
like that. He just needs to not turn it over and find the right guy. But they double.
Yeah, he did have 5 turnovers. The most of any Warrior, I believe. And he led
But
the team
again,
in turnovers.
attack Vanderbilt, attack AD. If you get Vanderbilt in foul trouble, who's a younger guy,
Yep.
then
Who-
guess
who
what?
got
They
that
have to
in?
put Russell on you and Schroeder, and those guys aren't as good. You were dominating the end of the game when Vanderbilt sat down.
Yeah, he gave some quality minutes. 26 minutes for Vanderbilt, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. That is a great stat line for 26 minutes. And he was 2 of 7.
And he was 2 of
Gave
7.
you a little offense too. And he did a great job on
And
Steph.
the best plus minus.
Oh,
on
did
the-
he
on the
really? Yeah,
Lakers.
that makes sense.
Best
Look
plus
at-
minus.
look at-
Because he wasn't in for that whole run, that 14-0 run.
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I thought that was over for the Lakers. Then until I was like, the Lakers, they're too old. They can't. This is just when they wear down, end of the fourth quarter, late in the game. But they were able to withstand that run, 14-0. And you know the Warriors going to have a run at the end. You know one's coming. And they were able to do a good job of withstanding that run and being able to close out that game. All right, we come back. We'll get into we got some NFL news notes and nuggets to get into. We'll talk about the Aaron Rodgers story. There's an Aaron Rodgers update for you. And also a record set, a bad record actually set for the 5th-year extensions. We'll get into that 5th-year options. We'll get into that later on in next segment. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a new theme Thursday. The new theme of the day, as you can guess, Cinco de Mayo is the new theme of the day. Obviously, that's tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, but we're celebrating a little bit early on a new theme Thursday, so thanks to Patrick for DJing a new theme Thursday. Harj, you was waiting on it.
I've been waiting on my girl,
Mm-hmm.
Salina.
Hey, man.
How you doing, girl?
Yeah, no.
What is it? Diddy Diddy Bamba?
Bitty bitty bum bum.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I said.
That's what I said. You better be paying attention. Y'all listening too
Hart
slow.
loves Selena, but doesn't even know the music, which means most of his the appeal to Selena is not just her musical talent.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all like my sister just sent me right now. She sent me this meme and said, I hate when I'm singing a song and someone corrects me. What if I'm doing the remix?
Well said. Well said. That's a good point.
Perfect timing.
Hey, do your own remix, man. I love that. What if I'm doing it? I'm about to use that. We're going to steal that one. That's good. So, I'm going to get it wrong. I always get it wrong. They're like,
everybody's like, man, that ain't even how it goes. How y'all don't know I'm doing the remix?
I like that. That's good stuff. All right, my man Patrick cooking us up on a new theme Thursday. All right, a couple of NFL stories here, gentlemen. And then we'll, on our way out, we'll hit the breaking news from Texas basketball, the 2 commitments that they have. But the NFL news I want to hit really quickly was about the 5th-year options because teams who drafted someone in the 2020 draft in the first round, now they have their 5th-year option window to exercise those options. And, guys, only 12 5th-year options have been exercised or picked up.
Which is very interesting to me.
It's a new low. It's a new NFL record low. 17 was the previous record low.
Especially when you hear some of the names that are involved in this. That is why it is really intriguing to me.
Yeah.
We will say there is a 13th that is in a weird. Jordan Love is in the. He did not get an extension. He did not get it. He signed an extension though.
So basically,
they basically did not want to pay
extension.
him the amount of money that it was going to be
For the
to
total
guarantee
time.
it.
Yeah.
But they did.
So it's essentially a 5th-year option.
It's a
just
5th-year
an
option, but it's a
extension of it.
renegotiated 5th-year option.
I
basically.
got you. Okay. Yeah, it's just weird. I wonder if it's like something that's it's either it's out of vogue in the NFL now, or that class is just a subpar class in 2020, and they don't want to pick up a lot of those 5th-year options.
Yeah.
So we'll see next year if this actually continues this trend. But yeah, that's mind blowing to me.
And there's injuries in that class as
Yes.
well.
Yep, a lot of them.
I think Chase Young didn't get his picked up right.
No, he did not.
And that's an injury one.
Well,
Because if
here's
Chase Young was healthy, he'd get it.
I
But
agree.
this will be the
agree with
challenge for Chase Young. Is it that he's injured or is he hurt? That's the conversation, right? Where he's been sitting there and he's kind of played himself to that part of it where it's like, bro, I guarantee you he will play all year this year.
Oh, contract year?
Oh, of
Yeah,
course. He didn't get his
contract.
option picked up.
That happens all across sports, though.
That's
that
what I'm
contract
saying.
Year,
Like,
yeah,
that's
they
that
play
time
Yeah.
where you start looking at it.
No
Now you
load
look at
management in the contract year.
Exactly. Well, I'm looking at a guy like Isaiah Simmons. Remember him coming out?
Yes.
I thought he's that guy, that hybrid player.
You're right.
Where it was kind of in between.
And they're not picking it up.
But again, you go to a team that doesn't know how to use you as that type of person, and they underwhelm.
I know that was crazy because honestly, Arizona was the perfect place for him to go because they were using a lot of hybrid players at the time,
Right.
drafting guys, and it just didn't work out
Didn't
for
work
them.
out for him, so.
there. So that's really, and maybe it's just the player selections in that first round of the NFL draft. Maybe it's just those guys overall, but. Yeah, I mean that's the Joe Burrow Chase Young draft.
Yeah.
But then you got the Jeffrey Okudah who's already been traded
Yep.
from the
Couple times, I think. I
yeah.
think he got
From the
moved
Lions.
around twice.
Hell, Tua's dealt with injury. He was at the top of that draft too. You talked about Isaiah Simmons already. So yeah, it could just be
Kenneth
this
Murray.
specific draft.
Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to the Cowboys on this one, though.
CeeDee Lamb.
A lot of cornerbacks did not get those options. Trayvon Diggs is a second-round pick in that year's draft.
Yep.
So a lot of guys went above Trayvon Diggs. The Cowboys were able to get him in the second round, and he's probably the best cornerback in the draft.
That is a great point. I agree with you on that. Yeah, Cowboys arguably in the first 2 rounds, they're one of the best drafting teams in the league. First round, they are the best drafting team in the league. So I thought that was interesting to bring up. And you guys know what position has the highest hit rate when it comes to teams exercising 5th-year options. And this is from 2009 to 2018 is what they did here. Actually, no, it's through 2020. I take that back. So since they've started the 5th-year options. What positions are most likely to get the fifth-year options picked up? What position you think, Harge?
I think offensive lineman.
All right. What do you think, Patrick?
Besides quarterback.
It's center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Center.
See, I was vague.
Yeah, no, but you're right though.
Yeah, 'cause I
you're
would've-
right. It's center and offensive tackle.
Yeah, because I would have gone offensive tackle if I would have
Yeah.
gone more specific. Just because looking at this year's draft, it was offensive tackles were the only linemen really get it, and they cost more. Because that's part of it too. Is that the cost of this fifth-year option is why some of these guys will try and re-sign them, but they're like, we're not paying you top money for you.
No, you're right about that. You got 88% centers and 55% of offensive tackles. And that's actually only ones from in this timeline from 2009, 2018 is what they say here. They're the only ones that are only over 50%.
Yeah.
Having their options picked up in that time span. The edge rushers are at 45%, it says.
I wouldn't have gone with centers, though, too, because centers are real hit or miss.
They are, but when you hit on one, and sometimes it takes a little while, you have to develop a center, right? You let them, you kind of let them sit back for a while and study. So, yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, we saw the Texans draft 2.
Because they're
like, maybe one of them will work.
That's exactly right. You know what? I thought it was smart. It was a smart move because at least they're admitting, we're not great at evaluating these centers. Let's give ourselves margin for error.
Yeah. Right.
Let's assume we're going to screw up one of them.
Let's get a couple of these.
I like that move. All right, last story here before we move on to the last segment. Aaron Rodgers, guys. Aaron Rodgers did go on the Pat McAfee show, Harge, and he was asked about how much he is going to participate in the off-season workouts and activities. Here's the quote. He did say on the Pat McAfee show that he would, quote, attend or be present for more than half. More than half.
That's all we're asking for, man.
Half.
I just needed you to be there, man.
More than half of the OTAs.
What are we saying in relationships? I just want you to be present.
Just more than half.
Do we know a number?
More than half.
Do we know a number of how many OTA practices there are?
I got to go check. I don't know with the new CBA. I'm not sure.
We got to figure out how many it is.
We're going to do it like spring
football?
Spring football, 15. We're going to go with 15.
That's what I'm saying, because if it's an even number, he's going to be real annoyed because that means he's got to do 2 more than half.
Yep.
If it's odd, he can do just 1 more.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
Actually, I'm going to figure that out when we come back from the break. I'm going to try to figure out how many workouts they're allowed to have. So, because Aaron Rodgers knows.
And
he's going to go into a little over half.
I'll tell you what, we'll write down our predictions, and we'll see who gets closest to how many OTAs Aaron Rodgers actually shows up at.
That's good. And you know what? He's very temperamental, so it might be just based on how he feels. Like,
if he wakes up there one day and he's like, you know what? My chakras aren't aligned today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I gotta.
My aura's off.
My aura's off. Randall, can you handle the wide receivers today?
Randall.
I love that, Randall.
Hey, Randall, tell Zach to run some more sprints.
He asked Randall Cobb to record all the practice for my video.
No, what they're doing, FaceTime.
Hey, Randall, I need you to FaceTime all those routes, man, so I can critique all the guys via the phone.
Just laugh at every time Zach Wilson throws the ball. He just hears Randall. He just laugh from the phone.
Yep.
It's like, what are y'all laughing at? Nothing.
Nope, that's just Aaron. He's on the phone.
Yep.
All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up, put it in the oven right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Okay, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. Before we get to what's on tap, real quick to clear up the conversation about Aaron Rodgers and how often he is going to show up for the OTAs, more than half. So we went and researched it. They're at different phases of the offseason, but the official OTAs starts up May 22nd. And basically May 22nd, teams are allowed to have 10 OTA practices with no live contact. And then starting June 6th, is different for every team, June 6th through 10th, something like that, they have 3 other mandatory workouts that they can do. So basically you have a total of 13, before training camp starts, 13 OTA mandatory workouts you can use as a team. I went back and looked at the Jets, Jets, Jets. Their calendar for the offseason, OTA offseason workouts, May 22nd, May 23rd, May 25th, May 30th through the 31st, June 2nd, June 5th, 6th, 8th, and 9. Yeah. So, 8. Now, they basically are using 10 of their 13 allotted days for OTAs.
All right, how many days does he show up?
If we're going to go with 13, he's going to show up 7. If we're going to go with 10, he's going to turn up.
They're only using 10 of theirs. So.
10, what do you got, Harge?
I'm going to say 5.
You say you're showing up at, for half.
Yeah, he's going to say half.
Wow. Yeah, he said more than half, though.
I don't think he knew the dates. I don't think he understood
well, you know
what was going on.
I think he believes it's he's looked at the schedule definitely. But even in case it is 13, I'm gonna say he's gonna go to 7.
Okay.
He's gonna go to 7 of them.
Do those days that he was filming those passes, do those count? That's the other part of that.
I don't know. Maybe in his mind they do count.
Yeah, maybe that's why he said,
I've been there for 3 days.
Exactly, and I already told him how to run routes. I already told him that.
I told Randall what
I'm
he
going to tell you,
said.
I think he does 8. I think he either misses the single day ones or he misses one weekend, but he does the rest.
So you're going to say 8.
I'm going to say
I like
8.
that.
Look
I like
up when
that.
the psychedelic convention is.
That's
Because
true.
he's speaking at the psychedelic convention. I don't know when that is.
Yeah, he's going to need a week off after that, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're not going to drug test him for that.
He needs to come down after that, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, what you got on tap tonight?
I'm going to watch the Lakers, baby.
That's right, baby.
The Golden State. This is a big time. And shout out to Bucky Godbolt. He's got his mullet open tomorrow. We're all going to be out there.
baby.
But he had his mini mullet today, so.
Oh, nice.
I wonder if Quinn Ewers was out there.
Maybe the mini mullet.
The mini mullet.
All right, Patrick, what's on tap for you, brother?
Instant Series tonight at 8.
That's right.
We'll be
that's right.
doing a little draft recap, hitting all of today's top stories, and, of course, talking a lot of basketball.
I love it. All right, for me, what's on tap? I'm watching LeBron
That's
versus
right.
Steph.
And it's 8 o'clock, so you could be up
A
still.
little early, baby.
That's
I'm
right.
an
That's
old
right.
man, so I like early games,
That's
early
right.
start times.
That's right.
All right, we come back tomorrow, same time, same place. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Peace.